Hey everybody, J-Man here in the Phantom Zone. Today, it's a little bit darker than normal because I'm rearranging my room. So the lighting is different. I'm actually moving everything to a. If you guys can see me, because I had internet. Well, I didn't have internet problems. I had laptop problems. I need to get a new laptop. So I'm gonna change up my space. I'm gonna get better lighting, and I'm gonna hopefully get a new laptop pretty soon. And I'm gonna be in a different room. So I'm gonna have better display and all that. So I've been literally like this room over here is a disaster. If I turn the camera around, you can see it's like a disaster behind me. So I'm gonna be moving everything to the master bedroom, and that's where my YouTube stuff's gonna be done. So it's gonna be a lot better soon. I guess it is appropriate though that it's darker here because it's a dark day. It's a dark day. We're going to be talking about No Time to Die. There is going to be spoilers. I'll put up a spoiler banner when we get to it. The heavy duty stuff we'll get to in a bit. We'll probably go through some of the Daniel Craig movies, just talking back and forth, and Daniel Craig in general as a Bond, and sort of our experience with James Bond, because each of us has a different kind of experience with James Bond. So we'll kind of just go through that. But okay, so let's bring in Steven. How's it going, Steve?
Hey, J-Man. Let me tell you, folks, you've seen it, but to actually visit J-Man's room, it's a different experience. Him moving that stuff is no mean task. Like it's gonna be, we're talking about basically building a new building.
Yeah, it's a whole new section.
Yeah.
So I moved a lot of my movies out to the living room, and we got rid of some furniture that we didn't need, and now not all my movies, but a large chunk of movies are going to be out. Probably like around 2,000 movies or so will probably be out in the living room, and then the other 1,500 or whatever is going to be in the other. Now a lot of those other ones are going to because I've got about maybe like 1,000 horror movies.
Yeah.
So right now there's about 800 horror movies in the living room, which I don't want to keep them there. I do want them in my main room.
Yeah.
The living room is going to contain the action films, the anime, the stuff that my wife and I both really enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be there. The superhero stuff, the geek stuff, the horror stuff, that's going to go into the other room. So like this stuff, all this crap behind me, right?
Yeah.
That's all going to go into the other room. The living room is only going to be DVDs. We want to have it set up like it's like bookshelves of DVDs, so there won't be toys there.
Right.
The toys will all be in sort of my main display. Swamp Thing will still have his section. Wonder Woman may move to one of the glass cases. Daredevil might move to a glass case. I have a few other things I'm going to remove from there. But okay, so we won't do spoilers yet for No Time to Die. But I will put a banner up when spoilers are going to be talked about. It probably won't be for at least like 20 minutes to maybe even half an hour. When Sean comes on, we'll go through No Time to Die a lot more in depth. In the meantime, everybody, you can let me know, what your thoughts are on Daniel Craig in the comments and stuff like that. We'll try to address them and try to make this a little bit more of a discussion. Like in the old days, we can talk about and see what you guys where your thoughts are. I'm going to quickly just say, say hi to Could Not Be Reached. How's it going, dude? Thanks for dropping in. No Time to Die comes pre-spoiled. Yes. Zack Snyder fanboy, what's going on, dude? No one watched it. No, do spoilers because I watched it. We will be doing it spoilers. I sent you a tweet with an awesome Wanda statue that's coming out. And I sent Steve the same one.
Yeah.
I'm still thinking about it, but I've got a really good Wanda statue already, so I'm not sure. But this one is the MCU, like this is the Elizabeth Olsen,
right,
Scarlet Witch, like with the whole diorama and stuff. It looks really nice.
Yeah,
and it's not too bad. Now I don't know if I know Zach really likes Wanda, and I think he may have ordered the Hot Toys, so I don't remember if he ordered the Hot Toys. The Hot Toys looks really nice. But I sometimes prefer statues because they're just easier to dust and they're easier to maintain. Yeah. And I can even show you. I don't know if you guys, if you know the tricks of the trade of the dusting. let me see if I can reach it without knocking over everything I have here. It's in the corner. I'll go get it. I literally use a makeup kit.
Oh yes.
So, and then you just use, because it's very fine brushes, and you use the big one. You can do dusting very easily with that, and I found that works perfectly on statues. But anyways, yes, okay, all right. So yeah, Zach just tweeted me saying he saw that. It's really nice. It's a good. It's like, I'm talking about for affordability.
Yeah.
And what you get, it's not too bad, right?
Right.
Oh, I mean, he's the lowest for me, anyways. Even before this train wreck. But we're gonna beat this up pretty good later on. Now, Owen from the Action Elite. So news on that, guys, just to give you guys an update. His laptop is down, so we're supposed to do this on his channel. We were supposed to do this on the Action Elite, and perhaps when Owen gets his stuff back up and running, we will do it there. But we just couldn't do it because he had some tech issues with his laptop. So we're doing it on my channel, and he may not even be able to join us. And he's actually upset over this movie. Like, I know we bitch and complain about stuff, but he's actually upset. So he kind of told me in private that he's just like, he doesn't even actually want to talk about it. He's that upset over it. The movie is upsetting, actually. And it all boils down to the ending. I mean, you could, while watching it, I was going back and forth on my ratings and thinking, you know,
me too.
You know what I mean? And you sit there and you flip back and forth. You're like, well, we'll get to No Time to Die when we get to it. Like, there's some great action scenes in it for sure. Actually, how's it going, dude? Hey, dude. Hey, yeah. So I'm glad you made it in the chat, brother. Oh, it's a little bit darker in here. It's an upsetting day. The flags at the J-Man house are at half mast or whatever. Your phone works. Okay, that's good. Yeah. Oh yes, use that. Those are great for dusting. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're gonna break down No Time to Die when Sean gets on here. But as I was saying, while I was watching this movie, I was having a lot of mixed emotions. I got to tell you right off the bat, in the first 5 minutes, something pissed me right the shit off bad. And it sort of soured me. I'm like, oh, why'd they do this? But we'll get to it. Instead, let's first, I'll let you start, Steve. Let's just give the background, because we did start a little bit early, so we're waiting for some people to come in. What was your background with James Bond? What was the first James Bond movie you saw? And then we'll kind of go from there. Arkham, what's going on, dude? All right, go for it, Steve.
So I never read the books.
Right.
My first experience was For Your Eyes Only, which to this day is still my favorite Bond. To me, it's as close to the perfect Bond I consider the perfect Bond. So I started with Roger Moore. I was aware that, eventually that Sean Connery was the first Bond, but for me, Roger Moore was James Bond. And, growing up as a kid, I saw all of the Bonds from For Your Eyes Only all the way up to I saw The Living Daylights, but for some reason, I don't recall seeing License to Kill in the theater. So I think we missed that one for whatever reason. I don't know if my parents were pissed off at Timothy Dalton. I don't know why, because Timothy Dalton was not bad at all as James Bond, and neither were either of his two movies. In fact, I really like License to Kill. But then when Brosnan came in, I was more of an adult. I think I was 18 when he did GoldenEye. So I watched GoldenEye and didn't like GoldenEye that much. So I skipped Tomorrow Never Dies, which is still to this day the only Bond I haven't seen. Just haven't gone back to it. Then I went back in for World's Not Enough. Saw Die Another Day. I've seen all of them since in the theater, including this one. And until Daniel Craig, it had its hit and misses. Every Bond to me has had a hit or miss. Obviously, other than Lazenby, who his only film was terrific. And Dalton only made 2, so it's hard for me to really bag on either one of those films. Yeah, License to Kill is awesome, man. I don't know. Like, I watched that again, and I'm like, that movie's great.
That's one of the ones where he's not he's not 007 in that one either,
Yeah.
right? So that No Time to Die are those the only two? I have a not great memory of every instance. Like I just kind of like them all as just like movies.
Yeah.
And then I'll get to my story after, but I think those are the only two where he's not officially Bond.
I think he decides to because for some reason MI6 is not going to go after Felix's like. Does Felix die?
Felix dies a lot. Like, or in the books, he died like right away, and then they just brought him back. Or I thought he died, and then he's just back.
Right.
They kept changing Felix, the actor.
Yes.
This is the only time. Who is it? Jeffrey Wright?
It's Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah, he's been the most consistent.
Yeah.
Actually, I think he's the only consistent Felix that we've ever had. Right? There's never been anyone who's played him more than once in any of these that I can remember.
Right.
We know what happens with that. Anyways, yeah. So, all right. So let's see. The Spy Love Me was, that's where you started. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Steve, let me direct you a little bit. So you saw For Your Eyes Only with your parents. Everybody went. After that, there's a gap between the next Bond movie. Now, what happens in between that gap? Because For Your Eyes Only is how many in? You got Live and Let Die. Was that no, that's not the second one, is it?
So For Your Eyes, so Live and Let Die was the first more.
Yeah. That up here.
For Your Eyes Only was, I believe, the fifth one because he did 7. So that was the fifth one. So Octopussy was 83, I believe, and View to a Kill was 85.
Okay.
So
what happened in between that gap then to the next one? Did you somehow go back? Like, were you buying these on VHS or what?
No, I had no idea. Like, I had no idea it was a series. I was 4 when For Your Eyes Only, when I saw For Your Eyes Only. So I was 6. It was just like, oh, James Bond again. Like, it didn't really click in that it was a series, I want to say, until Living Daylights, because I'm like, why did they replace the guy who played James Bond? And my dad said they already have. I'm like, what do you mean? And then I learned about the whole series that way.
So I've got them up here on my phone, so we can keep track here. So For Your Eyes Only is 81, Octopussy's 83, but 83 also, I believe, had
Never Say
Never Again, right? So that was a weird. That must have been very weird at that time, I would think.
So
do you remember seeing both? Did your father go to see both of those?
No, I don't remember seeing Never Say Never at all in the theater. I think that my parents realized that wasn't really, even though it was Sean Connery in that, it wasn't really considered part of the James Bond canon.
Right.
To be honest with you, I really gained an understanding of the enormity of the franchise when they came out with all the movies on VHS. My dad bought the whole set, and I went, "Holy crap! There's like 20 of these. Like, what the hell?" And he's like, "Yeah, like there's and then there's like For Under Majesty's Secret Service was such an outlier because I'm like, who's this guy? I've never heard like this guy was Bond." It's like, oh yeah, Lazenby, he was there for 1. I'm like, why the hell was he only there for 1? And this is all pre-internet.
Yeah, for sure. And Lazenby said that he wasn't going to do any more.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Though. Yeah. See, okay. Because my story, I'm letting you tell yours because yours is a bit more, I don't want to say conventional story, but my story is like way different.
I'm like
way different. All right. So, okay. So basically For Your Eyes Only up until GoldenEye, everything in the theater, not Never Say Never, missed Tomorrow Never Dies, and then got back on track, and now we're where we are today.
We are where we are. Like,
so somewhere, I'm gonna assume somewhere between the Moores and the Brosnans, this VHS collection was obtained by your dad. And then what happened? Did you on your own say, okay, you know what? I want to watch, like what was the thought process? Was the thought process like, okay, so I've missed a few Roger Moore, like to you, okay, I'm young Steven, Roger Moore is James Bond. Now I've seen this other fellow, in GoldenEye, or did you say, you know what, my father has this collection, I want to watch the other Roger Moore movies, or did you say, well, let me check out this Sean Connery guy? Like the way I saw Friday the 13th as a super weird, tangent. I saw part 5 first, then I saw 6, then I went back and watched like reverse, like 4, 3, 2, 1. And then I went back and watched 7. So in between part 6 and part 7, that's where I went back and saw everything. And then 7, I was caught up. And then 8, I was for sure caught up. 9, I was begging my mom to let me go to the theater. She wouldn't let me, which is actually the right decision because there's tons of nudity and gore now. But then after that, obviously, now I'm an adult. So what happened for you in that sense?
So I didn't really go back until I got them all on DVD myself. So I got them in the 4. You remember they were like 4, but they were like all over the place. Like it wasn't like the Connerys, the more. It was just like one Connery, one more. So I went back and I watched them all in order, but it was weird because I watched all the Connerys in order, and I watched all the Moores in order, and I watched For Your Majesty's in between, like you're supposed to. But I stopped at Octopussy for some reason. I don't know why I didn't rewatch Octopussy. I stopped at For Your Eyes Only. And I saw View to a Kill in between it because View to a Kill is one of my favorite Bonds. Sean and I fight on A View to a Kill all the time because he's like, oh, it's weird and like whatnot. I'm like, I don't care. But I've seen them all. Like it's really weird. I just didn't revisit Octopussy. Yeah, Casino Royale 67. I haven't seen that one.
Okay, so you kind of missed out on Octopussy, which I actually really think is awesome. Actually,
yeah, I don't know why I didn't go back and watch that one of all of them, but like I just skipped that one, rewatching that one, even though I saw it in the theater and I liked it. Like I liked the train stuff. I remember Louis Jourdan picking the sheep's eye out and eating it, and I'm like, that's disgusting, dude. Like I was 6. I'm like, I would never do it. Like I remember Mauda Adams, obviously, because when I saw
she's in it twice. She's
in it twice, right? But different characters. I remember seeing her. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, when I saw the other one, I'm like, oh, that's Octopussy, right? That's Maude Adams.
That is a great song.
Yeah, that's one of the best.
That's probably one of the best songs.
Yeah,
I actually like the Madonna.
Oh, I
Die Another Day. I like the song, and actually, the opening with like the scorpions and stuff, and the way they did it, I thought that was like one of the best openings.
Oh yeah.
For that movie.
Anyways, I love
I know, yeah, you like it, yeah. Okay, we're getting off track. Okay, so you went. Okay, so then you went back. You're like, okay, let me watch these. This is DVD now.
Yeah, this is DVD.
Okay, so now you're buying those sets, which was really irritating, and I didn't buy those because it's all wonky shit order. You get like one Lazenby, you get one Dalton, one Brosnan, one Sean Connery. You're like, what is this? It was like the most and my theory was that if they released it by Guy, everyone would just buy they did later, which everyone would just buy the Sean Connerys and they wouldn't buy the others. Like that was my big working theory.
Yeah.
Okay. So to this day, you haven't seen Tomorrow Never Dies.
Right.
That's the only one.
That's the only one I haven't seen.
I'm assuming you own it because you
own
the set, right? You should watch it and see what you think. I mean, you should definitely watch it now because this is the perfect time to watch it.
Yeah,
because you just saw a not good movie and now you can watch a really
to give the audience an idea of how much I disliked No Time to Die. I'm giving away my Craigs on Blu-ray.
Oh, that's how
irritated I am because I can't. I'm not going to say much about, but like, when we look at the Craig movies, is there a reason to rewatch any of them? In my is the question I ask. Like, considering what we have that came before it, like it becomes a bit like the Transformers question. Like, am I really going to throw these movies in again? I'm not.
I was gonna compare to Trans, but I don't want to say anymore because I want to wait till Sean comes on because then we're gonna have to repeat ourselves.
Right.
yeah, so just hang on to that because I've got comparisons with that too. Okay, so that's fine. So you've seen everything now, and then that's that. So the first one I owned a few on VHS that were given to me. Someone gave me Goldfinger, and someone gave me License to Kill and Living Daylights. And Sean is here, nice. So we'll talk about that. And I can see Sean for once.
Hooray!
And I see Sean is in the dark. We're all in the dark today to represent the.
Yeah, I don't know why the lighting is so weird. Whatever.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so I had Goldfinger, License to Kill, and Living Daylights on VHS, and I never watched Goldfinger. So the first ones I watched were the two Timothy Dalton ones. I thought these movies are awesome.
Yeah.
And then I went and told some people, like I was like, these movies are so awesome. And the first movie I ever saw was, I think the first Bond I ever saw was Living Daylights or License to Kill. I don't remember which one of those two. But then the second one was that one. And then there's this Bond aficionado guy in our neighborhood, and he's like, "Oh, you're an idiot. Timothy Dalton's garbage." I was like, "Really?" I was like, "Oh man." And he's like, "Yeah, it's awful." And I was like, "Oh shit, it's awful." I was like, "Really?" He's like, "No, that's not James Bond." I was like, "Damn." I was like, "All right." And then I'm like, "I guess that's it." And then I literally didn't watch anything until I saw GoldenEye. I thought, "Oh, this is a really cool movie." And then I saw nothing again. I didn't see any of these in the theater. So the first theater one I saw was Casino Royale. And now that Sean is here, we can slowly start to blend this in, but I don't want to say my whole thing, but Casino Royale to me was sort of like Transformers 1 for me, where I'm like, somewhere down the line, people are going to realize that this isn't really what it's about. But the problem is that at this point in time, I'm not really a James Bond person. Sean's going to tell you, and Steve already said, like, you guys have been watching it. You've been growing up with it. You've been keeping up. I have not. I saw those two Timothy Daltons. I saw GoldenEye, and I owned Goldfinger. Never watched it because I was like, James Bond is boring and no one cares. and then I don't know what happened. Something happened. I thought, okay, you know what? I gotta go through this. Because I really like Roger Moore in everything else that I see him in. I liked him in The Quest and all that stuff. I know it's a TV. But I like Roger Moore. I like The Saint, right? My mom used to watch it. That's how she got his autograph and all that. So it's like, I like Roger Moore. I'm like, this guy's the coolest guy. I'm like, I got to watch something. So then I saw Moonraker, which everyone thought was garbage. I was like, oh my God, this is the greatest movie ever made. And I was like, this is the best. And I'm like, okay, I got to get into James Bond. And then I bought that. It was like everything came together. It's like it was like a Black Friday or something, and it was $100 Canadian.
Yeah.
So for the guys in the States, that like we're talking like $60 for every James Bond movie on Blu-ray up until Skyfall or something or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe not Skyfall, maybe Quantum was
Quantum, I think it was.
And I was like, holy shit. And I was like, oh, I've got to buy this.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, I'm hardcore doing this, right? And then I watched everything, and then I read. Yeah,
it's everything up to Spectre, but it's the same kind of $100 deal,
Yeah. So, so then what happened was that I got the audiobooks, and I've done all of the audiobooks except for the last two books. And then this is all in the span of during the Craig era. My entire perception of James Bond has changed. I have a James Bond set, which is in my other room. I've got some of the cars. And because I have no affinity for anybody, I just immediately thought Sean Connery was the best. I sort of really like Roger Moore anyways, just because I like Roger Moore. And I like his movies a lot. I think the number of movies that I like is Roger Moore, because I actually really like them all. Except for Live and Let Die, but I'm okay with Live and Let Die. It's a little bit of the blaxploitation stuff, which I do like. And Yaphet Kotto's cool, right? Like it's a bit weird. It's a bit weird. But the Sean Connery ones, the good Sean Connery ones are super, like some of the best films ever made. And the Lazenby movie, I think it's probably the best one. I absolutely love it. I've seen it so many times. I love the car. I love the Aston Martin from that one. It's the DBS or whatever, 1969. I like Diana Rigg, who I have tattooed on me. So Diana Rigg's like one of my favorites. I love her in that movie. I think it's genius. So we'll get to No Time to Die in a bit. That's one of the pet peeves that I have in this thing. I felt it was very disrespectful. Anyways,
Yeah.
so that, and then reading the books, new perspective, because then we start getting into the Daniel Craig's the real James Bond, and this is how it is in the books and all that. I'm like, well, I don't know about that, because I read these books. It's like it seemed like a talking point to say, oh, he's more like the books and all that. And then I remember people saying, oh, we want this serious James Bond. And I thought, and then I started to remember back to when I liked Timothy Dalton, those 2 movies on VHS that I had. And I'm like, people are saying, oh, it's too serious. It's this big drama and all that. I'm like, that's what you're getting now.
Yeah.
And then I came up with this, I formulated this theory, which I cannot prove, but I just made it up in my head, that there's Sean Connery, and then everybody else is just like a takeoff, where it's like, Roger Moore's like, Roger Moore just plays himself, who's super cool.
Yeah.
Then the next guy's like, oh, we have to be, like Lazenby just did his own thing, right? And he wasn't even an actor. This is the one time where they got a female actress and a male model, which I think is absolutely great to switch it up like that. But then it was like, okay, so we have Sean Connery, who's like number one. And then we have Brosnan and Roger Moore are kind of that, we're just cool and suave and all that. And then you've got Craig and Dalton, who are more like we're serious and all that, right? And then Sean Connery is sort of the one that can play both angles. Right. That's the way I made that up in my head. We can agree or disagree, whatever. Okay, so now I've seen everything and I've read tons of stuff. Now the only person who's surpassed me, I think, is Sean, who's read all of the books. I think, yes, Sean.
I don't know how many of the books I've read, because I've read so many and I lost track. So
right, and I'm talking the Fleming stuff. I actually had Nobody Lives Forever. Book, which is written by the guy who took over. It was the first guy that took over after Fleming. I
never pay attention to them, but there's a lot of them, and they're written in the style of Fleming too. Like they describe the food and all that stuff.
Yeah. So that's sort of my thing. So out of us here, I don't want to say that I am the most, but I don't have an affinity for anything. I don't care. I'm watching these and I'm evaluating these as movies, but also I'm evaluating them coming from the perspective of someone who has read the books, and the books are 10 out of 10. Like even the worst one is still the damn best. But From Russia with Love, that's probably the best book. Majesties,
even The Spy Who Loved Me.
I like Spy Who Loved Me, man. I thought it was wicked. I don't know. I got into it. Plus, it was the female narrator because it's the girl.
She's Canadian, so
yeah. It's the perspective of the girl or whatever.
Yeah,
I thought, and they team up at the end. I liked it. I know that again. That's the Moonraker of the books, right? Like, oh, it's not that good. It's like I don't know. I liked it a lot. I think Moonraker's 10 out of 10, by the way. The movie and the book. The book is so good. Drax. Owen from Action Elite said Drax is one of his. Dude, Drax is awesome in Moonraker the book, but Dr. No is the best villain of all time in the books, like just like the damn best. And then I love Dr. No the movie. Okay, enough. I've spoken too long. Sean, quick history of you and James Bond, and then we're gonna do No Time to Die talk, and don't spoil anything because I have to put a banner up saying we're gonna spoil it.
Okay, yeah.
And then we're gonna talk about all the Daniel Craigs and
rank.
We're gonna rank the 5 worst James Bond movies, which are the Daniel Craig ones. We're gonna rank those movies, yeah. We're gonna rank those amongst themselves as if anyone cares. Go ahead, Sean.
Okay. Well, I've grown up with Bond, and I have no idea which Bond I saw first because it's just always been there. It was the Sunday night movie, like almost every Sunday, right? On ABC or whatever.
Yeah.
And Roger Moore is the Bond I grew up with, as he was the current Bond, and he was ubiquitous as Bond. He kind of played Bond in the Cannonball Run movies and stuff. Like he was just like James Bond. I mean, and I never really saw him as anyone else but James Bond. Like he was even James Bond in the Muppet, like the Muppet Show episode, right? So I saw the Sean Connerys on TV. My mom named me after Sean Connery. Watching I guess the first 4 movies in Guyana under British rule and everything. So she loved Sean Connery anyways, and she liked Roger Moore enough, but to her, Sean Connery was the best. I think growing up, I prefer Sean Connery as Bond. Roger Moore will always be my childhood Bond. And as the series progressed, like I was disappointed between Roger Moore and Timothy Dalton. Like there was a big gap, right?
Right.
But then the Dalton movies were cool. I remember people being tense, but I kind of liked them, you know, and I can accept if they made more. I would accept them more as Bond as a kid. I love them now. As you say, J-Man, like, you know, all the things people criticize that Bond for are the same things that people love the Daniel Craig Bond for. So he's way ahead of his time. And like the Pierce Brosnan stuff, I love them. I saw that they were getting formulaic and sort of the same movie again and again and again. But I mean, the Roger Moores were like that too. And the thing is that, like, I think there was sort of a backlash of like, oh, it's the same thing, and like he fights a guy, and so that's what led to the Daniel Craig stuff. But like my love of, I even watched James Bond Jr. a lot. I think I saw every episode when it came out. To this day, I think that's the only dedicated toy line to James Bond is the James Bond Jr. toy line. It's his nephew, and his nephew has friends that all mirror James Bond's like entourage too. Like there's a Q and there's a whatever, and there's a Money Penny, so whatever. And all his villains are, I think, supposed to be the actual Bond villains in that cartoon. So it's just like I'm surprised by people like J-Man that don't like grow up and not really watch Bond, because you couldn't keep it away. It was on TV, it was in cartoons, it was just around, you know, and so of course I got into the books when I was in my 20s onward to now, and the Ian Fleming books are quick reads. They're fun. They're carefree. You know, I think the racism is funny, all that stuff, and the misogyny is more, I feel, like Bond's character. I mean, it's the final line of the first book, you know. So yeah, anyway, I'll stop there before we rip into Daniel Craig, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll do. I mean, I don't even. The problem is so I was saying this earlier. So let's talk about. We're not spoilers yet, but just No Time to Die initial. So this was delayed, right?
Yeah.
To do everything. So we finally got to go see it. And the Daniel Craig movies, to me, were never really James Bond. They would do little things. Like I liked Skyfall. And I know Steven didn't like it. And I know Owen from Action Elite did not like it as well. But I thought it was the closest we were getting to Bond. He had the car. And I know it's just surface level. Well, you know, there's Q and there's the car. It's not really the feel of Bond. This is almost like where we're just getting a couple of things like, okay, fine, you fans, you want the stupid car, here it is. You know, it's like, it was just like, they're just saying, okay, you idiots,
like begrudgingly,
here's the crap that you want. There is a James Bond now. It's like, well, it's close, but it never got the feel of these. And then someone who's not grown up with it, you would think I would be more like carefree about it. Like, oh yeah, you know, hey, all you old fogies, like, get over it. We're changing the times around. But it's so funny because my experience with Bond is only within the last 10 years, not the last, 30 years. Yeah. So but it doesn't matter, because when I get into something, I get into it. I don't just watch the first episode of, or one movie of James Bond. It's like, I'm like, oh, now I have to see every movie, everything there is, and read everything that I can find. And that's just how that goes. And when you do that, there's a different appreciation for it, which I don't think that these modern filmmakers have for anything. This isn't a James Bond problem. This is an everything that's happening right now problem, period, with everything. Mm-hmm. It's like there's a few things here and there where they slide by. I do like the He-Man CGI cartoon. I know some people are kind of on it, but the spirit of the thing is in there. I'm looking for the spirit of the thing. When I saw Casino Royale, I was like, ooh, this isn't the spirit of James Bond. I just don't know what I don't know. And I know the beginning. I thought the beginning was really good because I haven't read the book at that point. And I read the book. And I was like, wow, it's very close to the book. They did drag on that other half, but that book is still the first book. We're all writers here. Look, that first book is not the blueprint of everything that there is.
Yeah. He does a 180 in the second book.
Yeah, like the next one is Live and Let Die.
Like he's a man of action. He's punching guys in the shark tanks. And
yeah. So it's like people can, it's like people could only read that one book and thought, well, this is it. This is what James Bond must be. It's like, or they didn't read the book and just went by what other people said, word of mouth, saying, well, this is the real James Bond. It's like, it's very close to the book. Granted, yeah, I'll give you that. But you know what else is close to the book? On Her Majesty's Secret Service, friggin' From Russia with Love is super close to the book. Dr. No's pretty close. It's like, these are all very close. All those early ones are close. So what are you talking about? If you're saying that Daniel Craig is much, much better than Sean Connery, or it's better than this because of this, it's like, or it's more like the book. Yeah, but From Russia with Love is almost the book. Like, they just removed the villains' backstories because it'd just be too long. So I don't know what people are talking about. Anyway, so I was right there. I was like, I don't know about this Casino Royale business. And then Quantum of Solace was like, I don't know about this either. Although I've rewatched it, we'll talk about it. And it's like, and then it's like Skyfall. I'm like, yeah, this is pretty good. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just not pumped up for any of these. I don't know what it is. And I just thought this was like I guess it's better than Bourne. It's definitely better than the Bourne movies because those are just train wrecks. But I don't know. I just couldn't get into it. And then this movie, so we won't do spoilers yet. But this movie, while I was watching it, in the first 5 minutes, something pissed me off. Then right away, I'm like, first opening dialogue, I'm like, oh, you've already pissed me off. And then I'm like, okay, so now this movie's like kind of going like this. I was like, ooh, like there's some pretty good that one explosion that when he goes to visit, the thing, that was freaking awesome. I was like, yeah, and I'm like, okay, I'm like, here we go. In the beginning part, the guy with the mask, that was cool. I thought, okay, this is going on a little long. And it's about a character I don't care about at all. God. Anyway. Yeah. Oh God. Anyway. So once Craig gets going, I'm like, okay. I'm like, here we go. Right. We're going. And then look, and we know that what's her name is called 007, right?
Yeah.
Which this is going to sound weird. I'm actually like angry that I'm not angry. I'm angry that I'm not angry about naming her 007, and I'll explain that once we get into our spoiler talks. I'm actually angry that I'm not that angry because it's like it was so nothing. Anyways, we'll get to it. Okay, so yeah. So while I'm watching this movie, I'm like, yeah, okay. There's some good stuff. I'm like, there's some really good stuff in here, and then I'm thinking, man, like, fuck. I almost said this to Sean, but I looked at my watch. I'm like, my God, there's 1 hour left because this was 3 hours and 45 minutes. I thought, or 2 hours and 45 minutes. I'm like, there is 1 hour left.
Yeah.
And I thought, my God, what is going to happen in this hour? And I'm thinking, wow, like this is great. Out of this 2 hours and 45 minutes, there is somewhere, definitely ending needs to be changed, but there is 100-minute exciting movie lost in this convoluted to where Sean is asking me at the end of the movie, wait, what is this? I was like, no, like we're arguing about what happened. That's not a good sign when you have 3 movie nerds who took film courses
that's
arguing.
Like the end of was it Charlie's Angels 2?
Yes, hey,
at the end of it, I was like, what the hell were they after? I can't remember.
Yeah, we're gonna do some spoiler talk, but I'll put a banner up when we start getting into it.
Yeah.
So we're like no. So Steve and I are like, no, Sean, this is what happened. And Sean's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm sure. And that's how disastrous this was. Okay, now do we want to give our review out of 10? I can't. The problem is that the ending has made it such that I can't look at this movie and give it any kind of
well
review.
No, yeah,
I can't review this honestly. Like if I try to erase, let's pretend I don't give a let's do this. Let's do our space review.
Well, let me do my space. Hold on.
We're gonna do our space review, but here's the stipulation. We have to pretend that we don't give a jack shit squat about James Bond. Because if you care about James Bond, my review is 0 out of 10. I'm dead serious. 0 out of 10. If you care about James Bond, 0. I would give this movie 0 out of 10. So I can't review it. So now I have to think. James Bond means nothing to me. It's just a name of a person in this film that I'm watching, and I don't care about anything. But you do have to care about the other movies that came beforehand because it's all one thing. Okay, it's all one thing. Okay. So that's, sorry, Suscast. Yeah. So we don't give a shit about James Bond. It's just a name. It's just a person. There's an actor named Daniel Craig who's playing this character. This is his 5th outing as this character. Okay. The storyline, I would give it a 1. What would you give it, Steve?
0.5.
0.5?
Yeah, I'd give 0.5 too. I'm surprised.
Okay, 0.5. Okay. Pacing, I'm giving it 0.
Yeah, I'm 0. All
Okay.
the way.
All the way.
We'll
All
get
right.
into that, but
We'll get into that. Okay, so let's do the artistry next out of 2.
1.5 for me.
1.5.
Yeah, 1.5. 1.5. What'd you say, Steve?
1.5.
1.5. Yeah, yeah. Look, guys, there's some like the base.
The action, every action scene is awesome,
It's
except for like
awesome.
the very end when it drags on a bit too long, and I don't understand why. But
No,
but the action is awesome.
There is. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, no.
Okay, so I'm not keeping track of any of these. I don't even remember what I said. I said so. Right now, I'm at 2.5.
Right, I'm at 2.
Sean's at 2. Okay, so next we're into the characters. I'm going to give it 0.5 for the characters.
0.5.
Yeah, 0.5 for me.
Okay, so now I'm at 3.
And we're at 2.5.
2.5. Okay, so I'm always half. And then enjoyment. Oh, God. I'll give it 0.5.
Yeah, 0.5.
I'll give it a 1.
I was going to say 1. What am I? So I'm at 3. I'll say 4 out of 10.
I think I'm 3.5.
I'm 3
out of 10. Can you get to 4 or no?
He's probably more likely to go to 3 than 4.
I think this movie might grow on me as I watch it more, but like I'm 3.5 right now. Because the ending makes it tough to rewatch. Knowing what's gonna happen. So, but I mean, I don't know. Do you want us to give like just non-spoiler reviews or what?
Okay, we could do a non-spoiler quick talk, and then we'll do the spoilers.
Like
you
I'd
have to
say
do spoilers. Like
the good of this is I feel that Daniel Craig is more like Daniel Craig's Bond is more confident in this movie than he was in the other ones.
I agree
because it's more of like he's a man of action. He's fighting guys.
Yep.
He's following leads and solving stuff. Yep. And I was like, oh well, heck, now he's James Bond. I guess that now that he's retired and come back and looks like an old fucking like melted candle. But sure. And so that was cool up to a point. The action was really good. I thought the Aston Martin in the beginning with all the cool gadgets and stuff was cool. Yeah. The action sequence in I guess it was Cuba or whatever. With that party was awesome.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff was really good. And that's about it.
Right, and then everything else. Yeah, like I mean, you know what the like they had. Okay, so Steve, do you echo that? I agree. So I'm not gonna like.
Yeah, I mean, on that. Good points. The action was really good. It was shot very well.
Yeah, no, the action is killer.
Negative points.
Yeah,
stories convoluted. Characters. The characters who didn't make an impression on the last one didn't do anything to endear themselves. New characters either didn't do anything or were annoying. Stories horribly convoluted. It's to the point it's insulting at times. It's I didn't even like the sound design. In the one scene where they're in Cuba, I could not hear shit. And that's pitiful. That's pitiful in today's day and age. Like, we know Christopher Nolan hates sound, but like everyone else should know how to do sound.
I can hear everything perfectly.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean the party? The party?
The echo. Yeah. It was so echoey. I was missing every other word.
I didn't have any. I didn't have any trouble with that.
Yeah, the eye. It's not really spoiling anything. That eye part.
No.
Okay.
She's got the earpiece. He's got the earpiece.
Oh, that whole thing. Yeah.
The sound design was shit. Sorry, it was garbage.
Hey, that Anna, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
She was cool.
Or
And
what?
it's like,
Who turns up for like one scene and leaves, and then
Right.
it's like,
They
what the
should've
hell
kept-
happened here?
They
So,
should have kept her.
I
She was
like
great. Yeah.
See, they should have
Her?
kept her. What the
I
hell?
liked her, but there was something about her I did not like. But I'll get into that.
Okay. No, I was gonna say the two of them. That was the best part.
That was
Yeah,
cool because, and the thing is, she has a whole arc in that thing, and then it goes away, right? In that, like, I was gonna turn to you and say she's gonna get a bullet to the head in one scene.
I
Yeah.
thought so for sure.
But that was the point, that like she looks like a nothing, like dumb, like, you know, sex pot or whatever, and then she mega destroys people.
Yeah, that's how spies are supposed to be. That's the whole
Yeah.
point of it, right? You have
Yeah,
to
it's
look
like you're
a loser.
alluring, but you have mega skill. or
She was
whatever.
the best, and then they didn't do it. I was like, I knew they weren't going to do anything with her because I was like, hey, I don't mind this girl. I'm like, oh, she's gone because every other. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I like Moneypenny. That's a lie.
yeah, I like Moneypenny too.
I like Moneypenny. I liked her. She's all right, but she's not. They do. So the two people who I liked, they did nothing with them, but that Leah Sadu or whatever her name is.
107?
Madeline Swan.
Madeline Swan. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I absolutely cannot stand her. I haven't liked her in whatever movie she appeared. As soon as she appeared, I'm like, I don't like you and you suck. And then she stayed on and on and on, and she stays on and on, and it's like, God, get her out of here. Anyways, okay. Is that good? So I'm giving it 0 out of 10. If you love James Bond, if you just want to see a movie, if you want to see a movie that is way too long, that has some good action parts, it's like, then you can go watch it. Then we're giving it a 4 out of 10. I think a generic person watching this movie would probably give it like 7 or 8 out of 10 because they're just too, like the people that were around us seemed very excited.
Yeah.
And
if
I
you
saw
love the Daniel Craig movies, then you'll probably like this.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm trying to think, even if I love the Daniel Craig movies, I think I'd be more angry at
No.
I think if you grew up with the Daniel Craig movies, they started in 2008. So it's like, or no, 2006?
2006.
Wow.
That's a long time. So yeah, but the thing is, I keep hearing, like, at work and stuff, I keep hearing people like saying, oh, my brother or my kids or whatever are watching Bond and like Crave or something like that. So they're watching the older movies. They're available, thank God. Because sometimes for these franchises, like, movies are not available. So like all anyone really sees if you're like under the age of 20 are these new things, right?
Yeah, they're all bad.
But yeah.
Okay, so the people that we saw it with, which was fully packed to whatever the percentages that you're allowed to have it be,
Yeah.
all seemed to really enjoy it. Like nobody was like, oh, like we're like the three guys in the corner saying, what is this disaster movie? Okay. So yeah, I think people liked it that way. I think if you're a movie person, if you're calling yourself a serious movie person, you really can't give this any more than like a 5 or 6 out of 10 if you're using my space technique, because like there is nothing over, like the villain. This has been the same thing we've seen 100 times. It's like, oh, you're just like me, Bond. I'm like, ugh. Like we just heard the same, like literally the guy's speech, whatever his name is, mask guy who doesn't even wear the mask. Like I was so pumped up for him to wear that broken mask. Like, he wears it only in the beginning. Anyways.
I'm confused by the age differences and stuff too. I don't. What the hell's going on in this movie? That same guy rescued that girl. The girl became Madeline Swan. He's the same age though. So was he a kid when that happened, or he sounded like a man when he walked through the door and asked for the guy? He speaks. Anyway,
so
whatever.
What I gathered is because his face is so scarred, he actually is supposed to be older than he looks. He's actually supposed to be a person of indeterminate age because the scarring is supposed to. That's what I thought, because I thought the same thing. I'm like, so is he 12 doing this? Like, what is this? Because she's in her 30s. Because I actually start to do the math in my head. I'm like, well, she's in her 30s now to be a doctor, unless she's like, the youngest doctor in the history of the planet. So he's got to be 40 something at least, maybe pushing 50. And I'm like, the fuck? I'm like, all right, whatever. I just said it was scarring or they didn't care. I don't know. It's like the X-Men things where it's like a decade has passed. I'm like, why does everyone look so good still? Like it's bullshit.
Yeah, it's
Well,
like literally
delay.
the same thing.
Yeah.
All right, let me put the banner up. All right, guys. So spoilers are in effect.
No time to die,
Go, go.
baby. No time to die. That's my Bond song. F you guys.
Yeah.
That
All right,
Eilish,
so
Billie Eilish thing. Yeah. Anyway.
did we like the opening song? It was all right.
No, I forgot
No.
it. So probably
No.
not.
No,
I
I
don't
hate
even
it.
know how it goes. Like, what's the tune?
I don't know. What
She
goes
sounded
on.
like
Wait.
she was being slowly tortured to death while singing it.
Here's my pet peeve about Bond songs. They don't all have to be throaty, breathy ballads. They weren't all like that in the past.
Yeah.
It's like they could be rock songs. They could be listen, live and let die, man.
Yeah.
Freaking
View to a Kill.
what's
View
the
to
one that
Kill,
was
Duran,
number one, man? The Duran Duran song.
View to Kill.
Yeah, View to a Kill was not. It's like, what happened to those songs anyway?
And I liked On Her Majesty's, where it was
Yep.
just they just had the
It's just a new theme, yeah.
Yeah.
Which they beat to death here, but anyway, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they beat. I know.
And one of my favorite Bond songs of all time is "Beat the Shit" in this movie.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So you know what, too? Like, I like Madonna. I like Die Another Day.
Did you
thought
like
that?
that? I did.
Yeah.
Oh, I like
really
that.
You know
I
what? It's memorable because when you say "Die Another Day," I go "Die Another Day."
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Another day.
Yeah. Right. That's what I'm saying.
So I remember it. Yeah.
No,
Right.
I love that song.
Even
man.
Skyfall had the Skyfall. At least you know what. At least you remember it. Like I don't remember. Yeah, this one it was okay. I'm like, yeah, it was okay.
You strangled to death. I know that's how Billie Eilish sounds, but F this song.
Yeah,
anyway.
I agree. F the song. It sounds like it sounds like her nose is in a vice and
She's
being
strangling a
slowly
cat.
like tightened.
Oh
like,
my god.
Yeah, a cat is being murdered somewhere.
I only turned this. I only turned the spoiler on 1 minute ago, and it's like we've already like it's like we've just started our. It's like we've already got the guns out. We're like murdering this thing. Okay, so this movie starts off, and then right they're driving around. He's like, "Oh, we have all the time in the world." I'm like, "Okay, I'm walking out of the theater." On Her Majesty's, I believe, is the best James Bond movie. My favorite is kind of Thunderball because the underwater scene's like the damn best, and you got to pick a Sean Connery as your favorite just out of respect for the brand and all that. But honestly, like Majesty's, Thunderball, Russia, and For Your Eyes Only, that's like top 4 probably for me, easy. Like if I just have to quickly pick something, like that's my top 4 Bonds right there. I might throw Moonraker in, to be honest, because I just that movie's so awesome. That might be my top 5 right there, just quickly rattling them off. So, and For Your Eyes Only is one of the best action films for me too. Just in general. So is On Her Majesty.
I like this team up, but yeah.
Like Majesties and Eyes, those two, just as cool action movies, they're cool anyways. For Your Eyes Only is outrageous. I just watched that offline. I'm like, God damn, like this is crazy.
Yeah.
Anyways. So the whole they wanted to do homages to Majesties, and that's fine. The way you do it is in this movie, when he lost the car, "Hey Belle, how's it going? I'm glad you didn't stop your channel. I saw, and you got your subscribers back. That was awesome." She lost YouTube, screwed her on subscribers, so she lost like a few thousand. It looks like some of them are coming back, so that's good.
Yeah.
And stay on YouTube, man. Like stay on there and do your stuff. And you want to expand, talk about all the stuff you love. You love so many things. It's you want to connect with everybody, talk about horror movies, all that kind of stuff. Okay. When they did that reference to On Her Majesty's, I was very pissed off because I'm like, that's very disrespectful. If you want to respect that movie, have the car. So when the regular Aston Martin, I don't know all the model numbers, but then later on in the movie, he gets the other one, and that one is similar, or it might be exact. I couldn't tell. It was a little bit dark. I couldn't see it perfectly. It might be the Lazenby car, which I absolutely love. I have the regular Aston Martin. And I've got Diana Rigg's car, and I've got Lazenby's, and I've got his to the front. Green's my favorite color. It was kind of a darker green. I really like that car a lot. I know the silver one's classic, but the 69 DBS is really nice. I love that, and I love that movie. I think that movie's a 10 out of 10 perfect movie. So do that. Don't use the line. at the end of that movie that is so tragic. Diana Rigg is the greatest person ever. And it's like literally she dies, and it's absolutely garbage. Like even watching it, I've seen it 100 times. I'm watching like, fuck this. I'm like so angry over that. And it's like to use that as a throwaway cheap line in the beginning to be funny. It's like, that's bad. Then they use it in the end credits. It's like, no. Well, it's like, do you dare compare yourself to the death of Teresa? Yeah, right. It's like, that's garbage. Anyways, okay, so anyway, so that was that. And then we're watching the movie. I'm like, okay, there's some good action. The explosion's good. It's like, oh, there's some really good action. I really liked, and then what's her name? Nomi or Naomi? Nomi. So Nomi comes in, and I thought, okay, she's not too bad. And then she's like, oh, I'm 007. And here's the thing. So watching the whole entire movie, I'll just tell you right now because we're in spoilers. She's 007, but Daniel Craig gets 007 back.
All right.
But this is okay. So while I'm watching it, I actually wasn't angered. Like I wasn't angry, and I thought I'd be really angry, but I wasn't angry. I thought, I'm not that angry. Then I started to think, you know what? This was so pointless. It doesn't matter in the story. There's no reason for it. There's no big arc. He doesn't do anything spectacular to prove himself or to earn it back. He just comes back and gets it back anyway. So then I started to think, you know what? This actually has angered me now that I'm not angry, because it literally just means that you guys did this just to be dicks to the fans.
Yeah.
Because I actually see zero purpose in this movie for why that has to happen. Couldn't you, and if you wanted to, why didn't they make her 006? Or remember Sean Bean, I think, was Sean Bean 006 or one of the,
I thought he was 009, I thought.
009?
Okay, so he was 9, right? He was like, oh, I'm always better than you because I was 9.
11 or what?
She could have said, oh, I'm 006, I'm one better than you. Or you know what I mean? She could have, if you wanted to do that. But they just made her 007 to what? To piss fans off? Because it serves, you can literally just mute that dialogue and the same exact movie would happen.
Yeah. So I actually think it's worse than that. It's not only that it has no purpose. I actually think it's bad. It's bad story-wise because that insinuates that MI6 has absolutely no loyalty to him. That's beyond the fact that he comes back and Emma's like, oh, we thought you were dead. I'm like, what do you mean you thought you were dead? This guy's an asset. Wouldn't you send someone to check? It's like the guy doesn't show up to work one day. They're like, oh, he's dead. Oh, we'll just give his number to someone else. It makes MI6 look like idiots and disloyal and more like, why would Bond do anything for him? When he went with the CIA, I at least thought, I'm like, well, this is an interesting idea. Because then you have the clash where it's like, well, why did you go work for the CIA? Which he says later. He should have said, well, at least the CIA seems to like me, and then give away my number at the first time I didn't show up for work.
Yeah.
Morons.
Yeah. And the problem is that she's just being like, why does she not like James Bond? Like, this is the thing. It's like, so Sean mentioned this too. It's like, this character is not endearing. She's the Captain Marvel now of MCU. Yeah. It's like, I'm a 007. It's like, okay, I'm sorry. Did I do something to you? Like, why?
Why is she all angry at him over? It's just to have that old tired formula of like they must kibitz with each other. It's like buddy cop kind of thing, but it's just a formula. Like it serves no story purpose.
Yeah, in every other formula that they've ever used this for, like Lethal Weapon, it's like the guys got to know each other, or one guy's crazy, or whatever, and they're forced to team up. It's like all of these buddy cop things, Showdown in Little Tokyo, there's always a reason why the two guys are butting heads. This one, it's just there. It's just like, oh, I'm 007. It's like, okay. Okay, well, I guess you thought they retired the number. Ha ha ha. It's like, okay, so you're immature. You're not an agent. Like, she should just come in and be like, it's like 007, yes, sir. What can I do? And say nothing. And he's like, oh, you're 007. It's like, yes, once an agent quits or retires, that number immediately is assigned to someone else. Like, I would have made her a more logical, like, I would have turned her into a Spock character and be like, I assume the number. I respect that you were a great 007. I hope to aspire to be as good as you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's it. and then move on with this movie. Like there's no like I don't understand why they don't know how to create characters that people like. That Madison or whatever her stupid name is the most boring character. This is the woman. Look, my God, if you look at Diana Rigg, who's the other one, Teresa, she's got like charisma. She's out on like horseback with them, and she saves them, and she's driving the car in that one scene. It's her car in the action scene. She's keeping up with them, and she's pretty good. It's like this Madison or whatever, she's trash.
Yeah.
She's a trash character.
I'd have to watch Spectre again. She's in Spectre, no?
Yeah, she's trash in that too.
Yeah, it's funny because this movie opens with Bond is with her and then steps out to go visit the grave of his last girlfriend. So it doesn't really fixed. Yeah. So
I said that, right? He was.
Yeah, you said 6. Yeah.
No, because I remember him saying I was always one better than you or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was like still thinking. Why didn't they make her 001? And she's like, oh, I'm number 1. But like, why would you even do that?
Yeah,
like,
why would you? Yeah.
Like, there's no reason. I'm sorry, Sean. Okay, continue on. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say like they don't establish their love for each other. No. Like he's visiting the grave of his last girlfriend. What's that? Like they show it. You know, he's like, oh, I gotta go visit the grave of the last girl after. Yeah, right? So then that whole thing happens. But I'm like, well. But so they love it, and then they're angry with each other later on. And he offers his hand, and she's all like, and it's like that's the girl that you decided to end it all for. It doesn't. It's so stupid.
It's bad.
You know, it's not well written at all.
It's bad.
There's not an endearing love there. There's no endearing love to the audience. Is the audience rooting for this couple? I don't think they are because there's nothing to really root for. You know.
It's bad, man. It's just really bad. Like him going to the grave, I'm like, why is he there? And then it blows up at him, and I'm like, okay.
I was gonna say you're an idiot.
Like, and the reason gonna blow up. But the reason it blows up is also bad because Blofeld's there. He's like, I knew you were going to return to her grave.
Yeah, we knew too.
So, like, okay, fine. So you just planted a bomb, and you're like, just in case you ever like. It could take him 5 years. It could take him 10 years. He could go there as an 80-year-old man. What are you talking about?
I would do it too, Steve. I don't know what your point is because if I hated Bond, it wouldn't be my be all end all plan. It's just covering my bases. Like, well, he's gonna visit that at some point. Let me put a bomb there.
But how
for insurance, you know?
But how do you monitor that? Like
the guys were
there. Yeah. The guys were there. What did they do? They're like, listen. I know we're a terrorist organization, but we're going to cut out about a half of you. Go to this city and hang around in case Bond shows up at some point to her grave and then detonate the bomb. And then if that doesn't kill him, shoot him. I'm like, what? This is stupid. This is lazy writing again.
But they were following Madison.
Right.
So like when she went there, they thought, oh, he'll probably go visit the grave because he's there. I think they were following her, like they were monitoring her movements. So I think that's purpose? Because that's Blofeld's girl, right? Like that's the girl that he always talks with and stuff. And he knew that Bond got into her, so it's like their boyfriend and girlfriend. I'm gonna follow because that's why Bond is saying, "How did you know I was gonna be there?" or whatever. And I don't remember what they said exactly how, because it's like, oh, he stayed off the grid, but I don't remember. This is what we're saying when it's convoluted. Things happen, and I think in someone's mind, in the mind of the writers, they've explained it.
Yeah,
they've explained it to the audience, but it just didn't penetrate because
they're not showing it. You gotta show it for it to penetrate. You can't just say it, right?
Right. Like, and this is
it's just another one of those paint by numbers. Like this happens, and it's like they want you to think one way, but you kind of can't. I mean, the other thing too is like in that prologue's 22 minutes, so it's well, I mean, Bond prologues go on and on sometimes, right? But like but they so he feels sort of like betrayed by her, and so he's angry and stuff.
Yeah.
Another thing that they're showing that undermines the love aspect that kills him in the end, right? It's like, I don't know why you're so devoted to this woman. She betrayed your ass. Like, I don't get
okay,
it.
so here's the other thing. So she didn't betray him, but why was her bags packed? I see there's a thing where he comes back and her bags are packed, meaning that she thought, oh, he was dead, I'm going to pack my bags. That never got answered.
No.
To my memory. But this is what I'm saying. We have 3 film students here, and each of us have different interpretations of what's going on in a simple, in what should be a simple actioner. Like this needs to be a very, like, when I could follow it, I was following it. And I thought I followed it all until we have this discussion now where it's like, why was he there? I'm like, oh, this is why he was there. It's like, oh, I don't remember that. It's like, oh, and then I'm like, am I making this up as I go along? And we really shouldn't, like, we don't sit here and discuss the finer plot points of like Raiders of the Lost Ark or whatever. It's like, yes, I know what's going on. They're digging for the well of the souls. They're digging in the wrong place. It's like, okay, I understand what's happening. Movies today, they don't do the showing. They just say, oh, and then somebody will go on the internet who's seen this movie 14 times, who pirated this movie and saw it 14 times and be like, you guys are idiots because at 22 minutes and 13 seconds in the background, someone says Bond is here, you know? And it's like, listen, like, I need to know what is happening. You have 2 hours and 45 minutes, which is an outrageously offensive amount of time to tell me this story. It's like, surely you could have stopped the scene of him and Blofeld talking for 45 minutes about nothing.
Yeah.
And you just know he's going to touch him. Like when he touches the girl, I'm like, I know he's just going to touch Blofeld. Oh, by the way, we're in spoilers. Blofeld dies, Felix dies, Bond dies.
Yeah. I thought Q was going to die, but then he didn't. So, yeah.
Well, I was hoping you know why he didn't die?
Well, because he's gay in this movie.
Correct.
Yes.
Is he getting in other movies still, or I can't remember?
No, I don't.
Well, I think they imply something in one of them.
Sure.
Yeah.
He's so.
I don't really care about that. It doesn't matter to me.
It doesn't matter.
The only thing I do care about is there weren't a lot of Q showing gadgets, which is a classic thing.
But Q hates.
I can't remember when the watch is introduced, but that watch is mega used. It's like,
he introduces that when they get the ever. But Q hates gadgets, right? Like Skyfall, he said, "Well, did you expect a
they're trying to undermine the other movies."
I hate that.
Yeah.
I watched a review today of someone who I've never heard of before. It just popped up in my feed because I was searching for people's things, and one guy said, and this is it. He goes, "It's the yellow spandex line."
Yeah.
And it's like, why are you pretending that the source of this thing is crap?
Yeah.
Like, why, you know what I mean? Why? Yeah, I know. It just, right. But oddly enough, they didn't kill the people I disliked. It's like, why didn't they kill Madison? It's like, kill her. She sucks. Kill that 007. Let her go down in the flames of glory and be like, oh, and then Bond could have said, it's like, you know what? She did earn 007. Like, there's nothing going on with this. It's just like, and then this is another one of these things where they keep saying, well, maybe there'll be a spinoff. There's not gonna be a spinoff.
No. Honestly, I see this as the Heisei Godzilla in that, like, it's a new continuity. And then they kill him in the end, right? And then every movie after that is either like one-offs or like two-parters or something like that.
Oh my God!
Well, they're all one-offs except for the Tokyo SOS series.
Yeah, that was there was two.
That's Mechagodzilla and SOS.
Right.
Those two are some of the best Godzilla movies ever. As a side note, but anyways. Yeah, like this is
it's a 5-part complete piece.
It's a 5-part, because they all continue.
And to your point earlier, like I'm not really angry or mad at this movie because Daniel Craig has never really been James Bond to me.
Right.
And to me, like, the Bond movies died with Casino Royale. Like, I know you love Casino Royale, J-Man, but I can't. I'd have to rewatch the Daniel Craig's, but like I can't.
What are you talking about, Sean?
I thought you said you liked it.
No, I just said that was the Transformers one where I was saying this isn't really.
Yeah, I thought that you're saying that's how you felt back then. And
no, I still feel that way.
Okay. What about Quantum? That's like the worst one.
My favorite Daniel Craig movie is Quantum of Solace.
Yeah, I have to watch that again. I don't know how.
I'm dead serious. That's my favorite one because it's the shortest and it has some cool action. And I like what's her name, even though she was crappy as Taskmaster. Yeah, I like her, and she sucks as Taskmaster. I agree, but I like her in general. And like, I'm serious. That if we rank them, that's my favorite because it's the shortest. I can easily put it in and be like, okay. And I think that was the only one where the villain wasn't trying to be James Bond's like equal, or it goes, we're the same. If you, we're the same, aren't we? Or we're connected.
Is there a
It's
villain
like,
in that at all?
I don't.
Yeah, there
is
is.
a villain. He's that.
I thought it was the longest because it felt like the longest, so I have to watch it again.
Well, I think you need to rewatch. Well, you don't need to rewatch it because they're all whatever, anyways. But it's like it's the shortest. So that's literally my order. This is obviously the worst because it's the longest and has a dumb ending. Even if you like the Daniel, yeah, I can see what you're saying. Look, I'm not, again, like Owen from Action Elite, who's in our chat or whatever. He was like really like not happy. I'm not at that level because James Bond to me, it's not something I grew up with and love it so much, and it's not, to me it's the books, and really, like, honestly, it's the Roger Moores, and after that I think after Roger Moore, and I know Timothy Dalton is cool and I like those movies, I think after the Roger Moore ones, even towards the end, like even View to a Kill and stuff, I think that's where it was over for me in terms of it being like, once they ran out of book titles, I think it was over. To me, after that, they've all just been interesting movies to watch, and I have not gotten that feel of it.
Well, GoldenEye is freaking awesome, man.
GoldenEye is a good movie. I just doesn't. James Bond needs to feel. For me, I'm not a person who's watched it. It needs to feel like it was of a certain time. It needs to feel like a period thing. And as we got more modern, the more modern it got, the less James Bond it felt to me. Or with the Roger Moore ones, there's this weird thing. It's a feeling. There's this time in movies where I feel that there's like adventure going on.
Well, it's the 80s, right? Yeah.
And it's it's 80s and stuff, but and it's not every movie in the 80s, but like it's just some of those ones, like For Your Eyes Only. Like I feel like this is like so stupid, but if there's a board game or something, then I know it's good. Because it needs to feel like there's some kind of coolness going on. Like when people there's a Thunderball board game which I'm recreating, right? I've painstakingly actually found like images and retyped, not even changed the rules. I've retyped it in the exact font and their spacing. I'm trying to replicate the entire board game. Yeah. I don't know. It just doesn't feel like James Bond. And I think if you read the books, your entire perspective changes. Like, I'm not upset that James Bond dies either, but that's because it's not James Bond in it. And for me, it hasn't been James Bond since Roger Moore.
No. And I feel like this is a fitting end to the Daniel Craig Bond because he's been mopey and like pining
so just let him die.
Another life and all that stuff. So basically what kills him is the realization that he can't be with this woman that we've met for like, not that long. And I guess they're in love and then he dies for that because that's the kind of Bond he's been all these 5 movies. And I understand they're trying to humanize him, but they overkilled it because to me, I look at this Bond and I don't understand why his organization hired him in the first place. He's not the profile. He wouldn't be good on these missions because he's constantly grumpy and mopey and depressed. He's pining away for like lives that he doesn't have. That's not who they would get, so it doesn't make any sense in the world of Bond.
No. Yeah, it's not James Bond. Yeah. Like it's like where there is no adventure and somebody, and I mean, this is a thing too. Bond was somebody, you wanted, it was a bit of the male fantasy where you like want to be James Bond. Well, I don't want to die on some stupid island or on that in that base. Yeah. That base was cool though. His little garden was cool.
It was cool. It was
I like that. Yeah. I don't know, but I as a 5-part movie series, there doesn't really seem to be anything that pumped up for me to go back and rewatch. That's the other problem.
Yeah, and there's no arc to him either.
Right, there's no arc.
Same whoopee dude for the whole thing.
So I don't know. Like, it's not James Bond. We've established that. We all agree with that. But now, as a 5-part film series, is it worth doing anything? Like, I just don't see. Like, I'm not excited.
There's no revelation going on here.
And I'll tell you this. This is a true story that happened right after the movie. So as soon as we left the theater, and now I actually buy stuff on iTunes sometimes because I'm an idiot. I bought because I don't subscribe to the monthly thing. So I have the Majesty on Her Majesty Secret Service soundtrack, and when I left the theater, I played that because that was me getting some bond back or whatever. Men want to be and women want to be with them. Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing is that they killed him off in this, and it's like, okay. But now at the end, they say James Bond will return, and it's such a barf thing.
I know.
Because killing him off, it's like, I don't understand. Like, I came home and told my wife, I'm like, they killed James Bond. She's like, what, really? I was like, yeah, he's dead. And she's just like, that seems weird. I'm like, yeah, it's weird.
Jen
like,
was my wife was stunned too, and she doesn't care. She's like, what? Why'd they do that for? It's like,
well, my wife dislikes James Bond.
Yeah.
She doesn't like James Bond. She doesn't. Yeah. We've tried several. She's like, oh yeah, it's okay, I guess. I don't know. And she just can't get. And For Your Eyes Only, it was too much action. She's like, I don't know what's going on. It's like, I don't care. I'm like, yeah. So and yeah, she's like, but why would they do that? I'm like, I don't know, because they're idiots. Like, I mean, even in a 5-part movie, even in a 5-part series, you don't want to see the main guy just die like an idiot standing on a platform. Force Awakens. But like, I just don't get. Even if you're a fan, I'm thinking, even if you're a fan of these trash movies, do you really want to see him die at the end?
I honestly feel like there aren't any fans of these movies. I caught a bit of conversation outside the theater when we were walking out. Mm-hmm. This one guy was saying, oh, I didn't see him dying. And everyone's like, oh yeah, I could see it. He's like, no, I didn't see that coming. And I'm like, everything is now just shock value twists. There's no allegiance to the characters. That's why they don't build characters, because they don't care. They're just like, let me put a twist in. Let me write in something that will shock the people who have never watched a movie or never like sat down and figure out how a story works or how an arc works. It's just literally like, we don't have any caring about the characters we create. That's why they don't create any good characters. And that's why it's like, okay, but then I'm the guy with the wallet. You want my money. I thought you did want my money. I didn't know you guys work for free anymore. Like, or you work for free now, but like, so you don't want my money because you don't care about creating. You just want to build like, oh, you'll never see what's coming. This will be shocking. We kill James Bond.
Yeah.
But who wants to see James Bond get killed?
The other thing too is I don't think people engage James Bond like that. I think people completely miss the point that the Daniel Craig movies were their own thing. Because I think people are so used to, even with like the proliferation of these movies on streaming or even on TV, that like the Bond you see is the same Bond from the Sean Connery days and the Roger Moore days. It's supposed to be the same character. Don't question how he lives this long. It's just go with it, right?
Right.
And that has been Bond up to Daniel Craig. Daniel Craig, frozen. Like when they did the whole like M.
Or am I frozen? Can you guys hear? Oh man.
Can you not hear me or no? Yeah? No? I could see you.
Yeah, he's frozen. I can't hear him anymore. Though.
Okay, there you go. Okay, everyone's back.
Can you see me and hear me?
Yep.
I could hear you the whole time and see you. I don't know what that was about.
Yeah, so I think you guys, I must have been frozen, like, or something, or
you were frozen. Yeah.
My computer is crap, so it's not my internet. I have kick-ass internet.
Yeah,
just that my computer's crap. Yeah, so you're saying that people are just used. Well, it's like Batman. Yeah. It's like they didn't have Michael Keaton die and then be like, "Oh, Batman will return," and then it's like it's Val Kilmer, and then Val Kilmer dies, and then George Clooney Batman will return again. They're like, what is this?
So I told people at work, like, they're like, "Oh, spoilers, we don't care." So I said, like, they kill him in the end. This is the only Bond movie where Bond dies in the end, and they're like, "Yeah, really? And what are they gonna do then?" And I was like, "Whoa. But this whole thing has been its own thing." It's like, really? And because they think it's Bond that they know, right? And I said at the end, it does say James Bond will return, not 007 will return. Right, James Bond will return. And they're like, well, how are they going to do that? And I'm like, I don't think audiences are as attuned to continuity the way we are and different universes, etc., as Hollywood likes to think they are. Like, and to me, this doesn't bode well for like the future of Marvel and DC. But whatever.
Nope. Marvel's going, guys. Marvel, it's gonna be. It worked for Spider-Verse because everyone thought that was. Listen, people love Spider-Verse. Oh, I know Spider-Verse is a great movie. Look, this is what generic people think. It was a cute cartoon that was fun for my kids to watch. That's it. They're not seriously thinking, this was incredible. We need to do a multiverse for every fucking character there ever was. I want a multiverse for everything. Like this is what Hollywood thinks. They're so out of tune. It's like they're so out of touch with everybody. Yeah. It's like, guys, this was a cute literally. Everyone, people who don't even care about Spider-Man, like, oh, that was a great little cartoon. My kids loved it. It's like, do you know anything? It's like, no. It's like, okay. It's like, that was like a multiverse and there's different Spider-Man. It's like, oh yeah, that other guy was Spider-Man. Yeah, it was really cool. It's like, no, right? Like that, like they don't know. I'm telling you, this is not good. And this killing of James Bond, they think, oh, it's like, no, people don't know. Everyone's just like my wife too, who knows? And I was like, I talk about this stuff all the time, and she hears me talk about it, and it's like she's like, oh, they killed him. That's weird. It's like, yeah, that's weird. That every regular person is going to be like, oh, they killed James Bond. That's dumb. First thing out of their mouths, oh, that's kind of dumb, isn't it? It's like, well, James Bond will return. Oh, well, why is he? How is he returning? It's just like what Sean is saying. It's like regular people are not looking up on Twitter and oh my God, who's being cast as the new Doctor? Who's going to be the next Bond? Who, oh, what's going on with Mandalorian season 3? Like, I've had I know people who are watching every episode of Mandalorian. I told you, my buddy was watching every episode of Mandalorian. I'm like, oh, Gina Carano's not coming back. He's like, wow, I liked her a lot. Why did she leave? I'm like, do you know anything what's going on? He's like, no. It's like, oh, she made some comments and she's done. He's like, oh. It's like, that's weird. Like, these people don't know this. They're just like, oh, we hear Mandalorian's really cool. They turn it on. And he's like, that was a cool show. And he's not thinking about what is going on in the background. And Pedro Pascal made this comment, and Gina Carano made another comment, and one person got fired and one person didn't. They don't know what's going on. They're just like, I like Cara Dune. Why is she gone?
Yeah.
Like,
I know people are used to the idea of recasting Bond. So now I guess they're rebooting everyone's thought process to when we recast the Bond, it's a new continuity or something.
That's what they're trying to get people to.
Movies these days are made by people who are fed a regular diet of cliches. Yeah.
If he's going to return, why'd you just kill him? Yeah, like was it so hard for Daniel Craig to make it out, go walk off in the sunset with his wife and kid, and just leave it at that? I know that they were going towards him just having a breakdown and being garbage and dying or whatever, but is this something that we really want to watch? Is this something that we associate with James Bond? These people are so out of it. Yeah. Like Godzilla, and Sean, you brought Godzilla into it. And you and I are both the Godzilla super experts, right? Yeah, but Godzilla is a tragic tale anyways. At the heart of the matter, Godzilla is still a tragedy. Yeah. We want God, like we love Godzilla. I love Godzilla. Every time Godzilla dies or is on fire, explodes and destroys and all that, it's tough. I love Godzilla. Even when he's a bad guy, when they make him a bad guy and he dies, I'm like, oh man, Godzilla's dying. And every time they do this, there's always something at the end where it's a bit sad. They're like, you know what, through our negligence and through our lifestyles and our, we've created this monster. Now we've destroyed it. And it's it's always a sad loss, but that's what Godzilla is about.
Right.
Why do these, and we know that Michael Myers is going to die at the end of this movie, just like he died at the end of the last movie. She trapped him and burned him alive. And then now he's back. Oh, he's okay.
Thanks to the fire department.
It's like, thanks to the fire department. Anyways, so like, but that's what Halloween is about. Yeah. If Michael Myers at the end of Halloween literally killed everyone and stood on top of a mountain saying, yes, I'm the best, you would be like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, that wouldn't make sense. It's like, but you've defeated the final girl thing. Like, it's like, no, evil must be vanquished. And yes, it returns again. It just doesn't make sense. Like, now Phantasm has established that the tall man cannot actually be defeated because he's like ethereal or whatever he is.
Yeah.
It's like, there's 4 million tall men in every dimension has one, right? So you kill one from another dimension comes to take that one's place. So that's an established thing. So if you're going to end the series, you'd have to show the tall man actually dies for good. But then you know what they would do? They'd have some kind of weird thing at the end where it's like, oh my God, he's not really dead. That's the Phantom. The James Bond movies have their set formula. And I don't think it's wrong to go with that. Like the audience expects something because that's the brand you're selling.
Yeah.
If you're selling Nike and I buy Nike shoes, I've said this for the He-Man thing, I buy Nike shoes and they fall apart. It's like, well, they're still shoes, right? It's like, yeah, but I spent like $200 buying these shoes and they're trash. Yeah, but it's still running shoes. What do you want? Yeah,
So-
but I'm buying your brand.
So my dad, he's getting older, and he gets confused sometimes, and he'll say the wrong thing. And he'll say to me about a sporting event, he's like, "Oh, the Raptors are up to bat." I'm like, "The Raptors? They're a basketball team,
Right. So you meant Jays or whatever.
baseball."
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Oh, you know what I mean." And I'm like, "Right." I'm like, and I start laughing because I'm like, it'd be pretty funny to see the Raptors go up to bat. But my point is that you pay to see the Blue Jays play baseball.
Right.
If the Raptors show up, you'd be amused for like a minute, and then you're like, well, we're going to lose because these guys can't play.
Yeah, and I just paid money.
And I just paid money to watch the Blue Jays play. Like, I remember, and this is a Blue Jays analogy, so bear with me. I went to a baseball game, and there was this lady sitting behind me, and she said, and they announced the lineups, and Roberto Alomar, who was basically the only Blue Jays Hall of Famer.
I've heard of him.
You've heard of him, okay? So they announced the lineup. Alomar's not in the lineup. This lady behind me is like, Roberto Alomar's not in the lineup, and the person's like, no, I didn't hear his name. She's like, I'm leaving.
Right.
Right.
I knew my mom's cousin's daughter. Actually, I think knew him at some point, or they, and it's like, yeah, and that's enough. Like, there's people who are going to drop Mandalorian if Cara Dune's not there. Like, my thing is that it's so difficult to gain new fans.
Yes.
It's so difficult to gain new fans because there's so much on TV now, right?
Yeah.
It's not like TV was crap and movies is where it's at, right?
Yeah.
It's like now it's like TV is beating the crap out of movies.
Yeah.
And now what TV has been doing is they've been making 10-hour movies and calling them 10-episode TV shows.
Yeah.
And it's getting hard to compete because I'm sitting down. So I'm almost finished Squid Game. Boy, that revved up like 2 or 3, and I'm like, this is okay. And then like all of a sudden, like 4 or 5, like episode 5, 6, I'm like, whoa, this is like gotten pretty good. Now I'm like, oh, I gotta. Now it's must see TV, right?
TV, yeah.
You got to get to like the first, but again. So my theory was always like, why is the first episode was still good enough to keep you on, and then it got better because again, these are like movies. This is really a movie. This isn't an episode. Squid Game is not a show.
Right.
They're lying to you. Netflix lies to you. Like, Squid Game is not a TV series. It's a movie that they've split up.
Yeah.
And now the thing is, it's like now you start thinking like, well, this Daniel Craig movie was 3 hours, which is 3 episodes of this, and it's like I'm getting more out of the 3 episodes of this than I'm getting out of the 3 hour. Like, it's like movies need to reevaluate what their position is. It's like it's know your role here. It's like I need to be entertained for 2 hours while I eat expensive popcorn.
Yeah, well,
that is your niche market.
Yeah,
and I don't want to be pissed off. And if I see a trailer for a James Bond movie, and there's been 24 James Bond movies, or 25 if you count the other one, or more if you count the original Casino Royale, like the older, there's over 20 James Bond related films, and they've always been this, and now you're going to change it. Well, then I need to know why you're changing it, and you better have a goddamn amazing reason why you did change it. And it's like, or give me what I want, let me enjoy myself and watch my movie and get my entertainment and move on. And there's always going to be guys like us who are going to be more excited or less excited. There's always going to be general public who are going to be like, No Time to Die was an excellent movie. Why is everyone complaining? Do you like James Bond? Well, not really. Exactly. It's like, did you buy any James Bond movies? No. Okay, so then you're not. It's so hard to get new fans who are loyal.
Yeah.
And it's very easy. It's easy to keep fans, right? Because just give them a few things that they want and a few new things. The formula, it's the Doctor Who formula. If there's going to be 10 episodes in this season, I need 3 or 4 of them to have classic monsters, right? Dalek. There has to be a Dalek episode. There has to be a Cyberman episode. Just get the hell over yourself and those 2 need to be there. Then you throw in 1 or 2 of the really classic guys, like maybe Zygons or Ice Warriors or like Sontaran or something. And then you give us 5 or 6 of your new monsters that you've created. And maybe they catch on. And if they like angels, right? Like angels catch on, then maybe those guys will come back, you know, in later iterations of Doctor Who. That's
Right.
it. This isn't difficult. Like, I don't understand.
Well, let me ask the question: How did John Wick do it? We're going on to our 4th John Wick movie.
I said,
Right.
and I said that walking out. I said John Wick would have just walked this off and continued on with his day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
He
Yeah,
knows his target audience.
like
why is it that the John Wick ones and those other movies? What's the other ones? Just think of all the other action guy movies. They're doing James Bond better than James Bond. Go
Yeah.
ahead, Steve.
like John Wick? If people say you can't do like an entertaining movie, series of movies that is endearing to people, Exhibit A in today's world, Exhibit A, John Wick. John Wick has done it. Like, think of it this way, and this is not a slam on John Wick, but if John Wick came out in the 90s, it would not be anywhere near what it is right now. It wouldn't be, because they were all making movies like that back then.
Yeah.
It was always like that. But now they do it, and people are like, "Oh my God, John Wick! This is awesome." It is awesome, but you know, it's the M. Bison thing. For you, it was this big event. For me, it was Tuesday.
I
Like,
love that line.
I
Game over.
like, you know, like it speaks to the fact that we can't have memorable characters anymore. We're very lucky if we get any of them. And if we get them, even stuff that would be, you know, every other Tuesday for us back in 93 or 95, now it's like a global phenomenon. It's crazy. And James Bond was John Wick on steroids back in the day. And now he's like, I got to be honest with you, when they killed him, I was a little bit glad. You know why? Because the Daniel Craig era is over. It's done. It's finished. So we got one of two things. For those people who are James Bond fans, you have your break.
Yeah.
Pierce Brosnan's your break. If you want to, it's Roger Moore or it's Pierce Brosnan. One or the other is probably your break.
Right.
I don't think people are breaking after Dalton. So I'm not breaking per se, but right now I'm breaking at Pierce. I'm done with Daniel Craig. I'm never revisiting Daniel Craig ever. For me, it's an outlier. It's gone. So for me, I was okay. People who like the Daniel Craig, how are you going to, like, what's the next series going to be for you? Because it's not going to be the same. Because if it is going to be the same, why the hell kill him anyway? Right? Why kill him if it's just going to be the same thing? So you have to go either back or forward.
Yeah, so there's going to be another reboot now.
Yeah.
In like a few years. So Lashana Lynch, that was Nomi, said in an interview they're challenging the classic narrative and the classic narrative being good.
Yeah.
And making the movies they think you want, not what you really want. Well, I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want. Now, just because I randomly said that actually just reinforces that the Spice Girls did create some sort of mark for themselves, and the fact that we still say that thing. Yeah. So, anyways, but like they think that you want this. No, they're out of touch. And like these filmmakers coming in with their big thing, with their big plans, we're going to do this and this is going to be something you've never seen before. It's like, well, maybe I've never seen it because it's not good. Yeah. There is one thing that happens. We'll talk about Squid Game once if you see it. But there is something that happens at Squid Game in the first couple episodes. I thought, I thought, oh my God, I've never seen this before in my life, and this is so awesome. And then the next episode, I'm like, now I know why I never saw that before in my life, because this is now weird. And after that episode, it goes back to being awesome. There's one episode where I'm like, oh no, this is kind of weird. But then I thought, damn, it was such a good idea. I've never seen anything like this before. And I'm like, but now I know why I've never seen anything like this before, because it just doesn't work. Right. So you can have this great thing about, James Bond, and now he's married. And anybody, there's going to be people out there who are going to be like, well, you know what, and my favorite's Majesty's, right? Or I think it's the best. And they're like, well, not one, James Bond got married. Everyone was scoffing at that, saying that was dumb. But yeah, I was like, yeah, he got married and his wife died immediately in the same movie. So it wasn't like he got married and had kids for like movie upon movie upon movie or whatever. it's like, yeah, like, okay, she died in that one, and he was upset and everything. People are like, well, James Bond shouldn't cry. People told me it's like James Bond shouldn't cry. That's stupid. So, I mean, if James Bond shouldn't cry and that's stupid, they must have shot themselves during these Daniel Craig movies, because like it's like really outrageous. But I mean, again, it's like in 5, or let's say 10 years from now, are we going to look back at this movie and be like, well, maybe I don't think the 5 Daniel Craig movies are such really bad films. They're just not James Bond, and they're too long. They're all too long. They need to be 90 minutes each. Get better villains, or either get better villains or make the villains more memorable. And not all, like, they just can't be bad guys. There always has to be some connection. Blofeld's the brother or half brother, or not even adopted brother. This guy's like, oh, we're the same and all that. No, you're not. Like, he's like, we're like the same. I'm like, how do you even get that? Like, when he's doing his big speech about we're the same person, I'm like, but we're not the same. And then what's the guy's name? The first guy, not Casino Royale, the third guy, Skyfall guy,
Javier Bardem.
Javier Bardem, who's like, oh, I'm like an agent and all that. It's like, why is everyone the same as James Bond? It's like, can't you fight? Like what happened to, there's just a bad guy that you look. Okay. This is what needs to happen in every James Bond movie. There needs to be an opening scene. Then there needs to be the credits that look cool with a cool song. Then we need to see something happen with the bad guys, and then Bond has to be called in. So Bond is doing something in the beginning, then the credits, and the gunshot, of course. And then there has to be what the bad guys are doing. Then M calls him in. Bond, this has gone down. We're sending you on this assignment. That should be the first 20 minutes of every James Bond movie. I don't give a shit we're going to change the narrative. No, you're not. It's like that, because he goes on missions. I hate when it's like, oh, we're doing this new thing. It's like, I want to see him go on a mission. That's what it is. It's like every Spider-Man movie needs to start off with a villain robbing a bank or something or whatever, doing something. And then now we know who Spider-Man's going to fight. Go.
Yeah. Well, the problem is that everyone wants the IP for the name brand, so they got the guaranteed audience, but no one wants to do the movies anymore. So, my thing is, back to that quote. Yeah. I mean, back to that quote, if they want to challenge the classic narrative, make your own guy. But then they're like, well, no one's heard of this. We won't get the audience. So they're a bunch of cowards in Hollywood. They're like, oh, we want to make our movie, but we want to make it with a known character so that we got the IP and we'll get the audience and the 60 million. Like, they're so fake about everything. And they're such like shills to money, right? Which, okay, I get it. Like, you guys have to make money. You got to keep living in those friggin' mansions, man. Someone's got to live in them, right? But like, stop being like this person who like, oh, I'm this artiste and all. You're a sellout for money. Just call yourself a sellout for money. It'll make everything better. To your point, J-Man, and you've said this 500,000 times at least. I go to Friday the 13th movie to watch Jason Voorhees kill a bunch of stupid teenagers. If I don't get that, it's The Promise. If I don't get that, this sucks, right? James Bond, I want to see the exotic locales. I want to see the beautiful girls. I don't want to see them wearing like wife beaters and capri pants. I want to see them, look good. I want to see action. I want a world domination thing or some sort of relevant thing. I don't want to hear about some, real estate scam. I want it to be a huge thing. I want there to be an awesome island, which we did get with this. I'll give them that. I want, I want the sharks with the lasers on them. I don't care. Like, that's what I know you didn't go to sharks with the lasers, but you get the shark. Like, they had the poison island or whatever. They didn't do anything with it.
What was the point of that?
There was nothing done with it. And the villain, like, he's got this thing. I don't even know how the hell do you have all of Spectre's DNA on a thumb drive? Like, MI6 had that. Guys, We have everyone who's part of this major terrorist organization. We have their DNA
that
and
was
their names.
How?
not-
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah,
just
that-
put it here with this guy
Yeah.
looking after. The janitor is going to watch after. Like, this is terrible storytelling.
That
like
that
the
is terrible.
I like the magnets in the elevator, though. I will give him that. That was
Oh, that was cool. There's
There's
cool
cool
stuff in this.
this movie.
There's cool
yeah.
stuff in this movie. Yeah.
That's the thing.
That's why, like, partway
Well-
through, I was like, well, I don't know what the big thing that people were tense at was, because I knew that
Yeah.
going in, something was tense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when he died in the end, I was like, oh, well, that kind of renders everything that I saw up to this point not really fun anymore, right? So,
I would say that if he didn't die at the end, I would be way more favorable and just be
Yeah.
like, this was kind of okay. It's too long.
Yeah.
I still would have said it's too long.
Yeah.
The story's a bit wonky.
Yeah.
And the villain seemed like he was going to be stronger than he ended up being. He was
Yeah.
just kind of not as good. And
Yeah.
I still can't stand Blondie. But I would have been way more positive. But I want to say this too. Maybe is this just me as a writer and you guys too? Like, I find a formula to be very comforting in the sense of this. If I take on a James Bond project, knowing now that we've adapted all of the books, they're like, okay, you know what, J-Man, that's it. Like, the books are done. Just do whatever you want. I actually find that there's a lot of freedom. Like, okay, so I have to start the movie off with a cool James Bond thing. So what am I going to do? It's like, okay, he's done skiing. He's done this. Like, maybe do something with like rollerblading
Yeah.
or something, right? Like,
you're
I would be
taking
like-
it and plussing it. You're not like undermining it.
Right.
Your shock value.
To get
or
my
your
shock-
entertainment
right.
value. Yeah.
Yeah, I would do like, I'm like, okay, there hasn't been anything with rollerblades or something. Maybe do something like that. Okay. Then the villains. Okay, what are the villains going to do? I'm like, okay, well, maybe this guy is just like, he was like some, I don't know, some like homeless guy who like all of a sudden worked his way up and became like the head of the mafia and then worked his way up and became the head of this other thing and became like this really big guy. I don't know, something. And he's going to steal
Yeah.
something. Okay. Then I have my credits. Then I have M going, oh, Bond, have you heard of, John Smith? It's like, no, I haven't heard of him. It's like, okay, I'll give him a cool name. It's like, I haven't. Well, apparently he's done this and that. Okay. And then the rest of the movie, I'm free to do whatever I want. And I would come up with one cool gadget. I actually don't like a lot of gadgets. I don't know if we're differing on this. I don't like the idea that Q has 14 things. I like it when James Bond mostly handles the stuff on his own.
Mhm.
Versus pressing buttons and having his card.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't Knight Rider, right? Like,
Right.
I want James Bond. That's why, like, For Your Eyes Only, they stripped a lot of gadgets out. It was
Yeah.
like he wins because he's that good.
You're right.
Yeah. But I like having one cool thing. So to me, it's like, pick one cool thing. Like the watch. I in this movie, giving him the watch, that was like, and then it actually like short circuits.
Yeah.
that
Cool.
cycle.
Yeah.
I like that was cool. I like that. He has one cool thing, and then his car has its arsenal, and I'm good with that. To me, gadget wise, this was perfect. Like, it has
Yep.
one cool thing with the watch, and then he's got his gadget, he's got his car. So, and I'm like, there's a lot of freedom in that, because then I can do what I want. And to your point, Steve, which was, in reference to Friday 13th, look at the Friday 13th movies that we all like the best. They're all the same, right?
Yeah.
They are the same. It's like Jason kills people, but you've got freedom in the teens that he kills.
Yep.
You've got freedom in how he kills them.
Yeah.
And you have freedom of how they kill him and
Right.
who survives. So look at the movie. It's like, well, part 7, it's like, hey, let's have a girl with telekinetic powers. You're like, what?
Yeah.
You're like, that's fucking
Yeah.
cool.
It's
Yeah.
like 4 and 6 are vastly different, but they're the same.
Right.
Right. Part 4 and part 6 have, or 7, 4 and 7 have absolutely no
but
connection.
6 is
Even
the
4
one
and
everyone
6.
loves, right?
I love 6. Yeah. I love 4 too. And 6 is completely different. It's got like somebody was like, what if there's actually little kids this time at the camp? Because it's a different camp. They changed the name. It's not Crystal Lake anymore. Ooh,
Right.
Right. And it's like, well, that's cool. We never had actual little kids around. And this time they're on to him because Tommy Jarvis is one step ahead of Jason.
Right.
He knows he's coming. You're like, hey, this is really cool. And you're like, well, how are they all the same? Well, they are all the same. What is Friday 13th about? Well, there's this guy, Jason, who kills people. And you're like, well, that sounds like it's the same movie. It's like, I know. But you gotta kind of have to watch them because it's kind of different, right?
Right.
That's the cool thing about it. Same with James Bond. Is it the same? Sure, it's the same. Bad guy has bad guy plan. James Bond gets called in by MI6 or whatever, or he is MI6, gets called in by his, M to stop it. But everything else is different.
Yeah.
Who he meets, who he teams up with. Like the action scenes, it's like sometimes they do a skiing thing, sometimes they'll do the underwater thing, and then they literally go through. It's like, man, we haven't used underwater in a while. All right, let's throw an underwater thing in there. You know what I mean? That's literally how they do it. They're like, well, we haven't like, because if you could almost take all the skiing ones and be like, put all those together and be like, watch all the skiing ones, but all the ones that have skiing have something else different.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
His name is Jaws. He kills people.
You're taking Coke and rum, or Jack, not starting with piss and calling it Coke. Is that a fair analogy? Yeah, that is a fair analogy.
And I remember when he drank beer, he drank Heineken.
Yeah.
Which is one of the beers that I buy, but I just buy random beers whenever I do. So he was drinking Heineken, and I was like, oh, I was drinking Heineken at the time, and I still am. But like, and it's like, oh, he's drinking beer, not the martini. Like, well, that is irritating.
Yeah.
Well, just drink the martini. Like, who cares? Like,
yeah.
Does it matter that much? Like, are you going to sit there and be like, hey, I'm the director of the new Bond film, and I'm changing the character drastically. He's going to be drinking beer. It's like, why do you think you're so good? Why do you think you're above this material? Just be like, it's someone asked Russell T Davies, it's like, what are you going to do with the Daleks when he took over Doctor Who? And he's like, I'm doing nothing. He goes, the Daleks are awesome. And he goes, they're going to be the same Daleks we've always seen. It's like, oh.
Well, I think the thing is that, and this, this is like, when you're on a movie set, you're extremely pampered, right? So like, you are given everything. Bruce Campbell actually talked about that like how it's scary when you're not on a movie set because you have to do everything for yourself. And it's like, oh my God. Like, I think that Hollywood people are just pampered and they don't identify with the 9-to-5 person who goes out and works in a factory or works in retail or works in one of those, jobs that sucks. They don't identify with that, right? So they don't really know what the average person wants to see. They just know what they want to see, and they're seeing it from their very privileged point of view. And that's why they're like, well, I don't want to do this movie. This is just a common movie. It's like, yeah, but that's what we want. This is why this thing is popular, is because it's high octane escapism. That's why it's been successful since the 60s. So that's what I'm paying for. Like,
you only need to come up with one or two things.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, if you came up with 2 cool action bits, that's all you need. You could do the first 20-minute formula of James Bond.
Yeah.
Set up a cool villain. All you need to do is come up with a really cool villain who's very charismatic or weird, or there's something crazy with him. You need a henchman, and you need 1 or 2 cool action scenes. That's it. You stand out.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be like, oh, that's the Bond. Like, for me, Thunderball, super mega standout. It's like, oh, that's that super epic underwater battle with the frogmen. That was sick. It's like, oh, shit, it's crazy. It's like all these guys shooting. It's like, that's all we ever needed. You got that, and all of a sudden you've got yourself a Bond movie that everyone remembers. I can't see you guys. You guys all disappeared.
You're frozen to me. So
you've been frozen for a while, actually.
Yeah, I'm so tired of this internet, man.
You're like,
it's so irritating.
It's actually the best pose for you because it's like it encompasses all our feeling. That you're fine now.
There's another one you did where you're like this. You're like, oh, like that with your arm.
Oh, was I?
Yeah.
We can always hear you.
Can you hear me again?
Yeah.
We can always.
Steve's
hear you.
out. I can't hear or see Steve. Did you guys hear my like?
Yeah.
I heard everything.
I mean, you literally just need a cool villain.
Yeah.
It's like a half decent plot for him and a couple of good action scenes, and that'll be enough to be memorable because people will always remember, oh, that's the Bond where this happened.
Right.
I thought the henchman villains were pretty good in this one compared
Cyclops
to the
guy.
other Daniel Craig's. It's like,
I agree.
I don't know what their names are, but the eye guy, the freaking dude that betrays them and everything.
Yeah.
They're all pretty good. Like, this got better, but it still didn't hit the mark because they had to change things up, right? Like that annoying Russian dude. He's so stupid.
Yeah.
He says stupid shit all the time. He gets in trouble for it at the end. It's like, why would you say that? Of course you're gonna get dumped into that thing. Like, yeah.
I know,
of course
she
she had to stop and say, do you know what time it is? It's time to die. I'm like,
Yeah, it was. If someone compared that to the you know what happens to a to a toad when lightning strikes it?
God!
It's like nothing. It's like what happened here? That was awful.
She says the same thing as when anything else or something like that. That was the most awkward line in cinema.
And people ask that, like, there's video of people asking the writers what that means at cons, and then they pause. They're like, "We're sorry, we don't know." It's like somehow went all the way through filming. It's like
I don't know how Halle Berry is an Academy Award winning actress. And for delivering that line with a straight face, she deserves that Academy Award.
Yeah.
You know what happens when a toad gets hit by lightning? Well, it's like the same thing that happens to everything else. It's like, well, what happens to everything else? What happens to grass? Like when it hits by like.
Yeah. Then why are you telling us this? Like we already know. So.
I don't know why they thought. Now Daniel Craig, he did have a couple of one-liners in here, which I liked. I did appreciate the one-liners.
Yeah.
It's like, he got the point, from Thunderball where he shoots him with the thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know. I like that Cuban actress, whatever, from Blade Runner. She was good. She's in it for
Ana
10
de
minutes.
Armas.
Ana de whatever. That's her official name, Ana de whatever.
Steve, what do you want to say about the woman that helps Bond in that Cuban?
Yeah,
what were you gonna say about that? Yeah.
I didn't like the fact that she's like, oh, I had 3 weeks training, and I'm like, is that a joke? Like, I'm like,
I thought she had 3 weeks training for the mission.
No, she had 3 weeks training for her job.
No, but then she's so awesome. And he's like 3 weeks training. She's like, maybe a little more. She kind of like, joked about that.
Yeah.
I mean, look, she's being cute.
I thought it was for the mission, but yeah. I don't know.
Again, this is the thing. Like, this movie is not understandable. Like, every one of us walks away. It's like, I got what it meant. Did you get? No. Like, I didn't understand. I understood the plot of getting back at Spectre. But then after that, I was lost. Like, why are you killing everyone else now? Because I'm the same as Bond. So Bond wants to kill everyone else? Like, what are you talking about?
I did not understand the main guy's problem.
Not get it at all.
There's somewhere in this movie, the plot took a nosedive. It's like, I'm like, so they've got, you just have to buy into this one. So they've got the Hercules weapon, which, so for everybody who's listening still, the weapon is that if they have someone's DNA, there's like these, think of it like the Borg with like the nanites or whatever, right? So they get these nanites on them, and they will only attack the DNA that they're programmed to attack. Okay, so it's a bit weird, but whatever. It's James Bond too, right? Like, look, the guy built the space station, so we're not gonna fucking. I don't want to sit here and nitpick this shit to death, right?
Right.
Like, that's really outrageous. We can't do that. That's not fair. It's a neat idea. It's neat. It's like we can get the DNA of someone and then send these microscopic, robots to attack them. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And the point of it is that there's no other casualties. So it could be done in mist form. It could be done by touch. So if I have Steven's DNA locked into this thing and I spray my hands, now if I touch Steve, whoever I touch gets these nanites. And if I touch the person with the DNA they're programmed to attack, that person dies. That's what it is. So that's kind of a neat idea. So what happens there is that the fellow has a grudge against Spectre, which I thought was cool, and he wants to kill everyone who's part of Spectre. At the same time that this is happening, Blofeld has somehow managed to think that he's in control of this weapon, and he's going to use it to finally kill James. Now, the linchpin of this is the most goofy scientist of all time, who is pretending to work for Blofeld, but in fact is working for Rami Malek. His name is, what was his name? Safin? What was the guy's name?
Oh God,
Safin.
Safin. Yeah. So he's really working for him. So he's a double agent for the bad guys, which is kind of neat, right? Because bad guys can have double agents. So then Bond is supposed to get killed, but he swaps the DNA with everybody of Spectre. So then literally everyone of Spectre is just dying, which is super funny. So now I'm not really sure. Like it's like so now Bond and all them are upset. MI6 is upset that this weapon is in the hands of Safin, and they're like, well, yes, he killed Spectre, so yay, but also he still has this weapon, so he can kill other people. So now Safin's plan is.
I don't know. They
Nobody
can
knows.
kill everyone around the world, but like why? And
Nobody knows. Nobody knows.
But I don't.
This
I
is the-
still don't understand the weapon. I don't get it. How is everyone getting infected with the nanobots in the first place?
The nano. Then okay. Then
It's the missiles that like deploy it.
No, the
And it
nanites
rains
can
nanobots.
Sure, it could be deployed. They're nanites, so you could deploy them however you want. So if you deployed them in mist form, right,
Yeah.
which would be the easiest way.
The overhead sprinklers.
Yeah, so the overhead sprinkler. So here's what happens. The nanites get before they're deployed, they get programmed with the DNA of the person you want to kill.
Yeah.
Or the people you want to kill.
Yeah.
So if I want to kill 10 people, I need all their DNA. I program the nanites with those 10 people's DNA. Now, we're at a party. We put it in everybody's drink. So everyone who drinks it, so you and I drank it, we're okay because it's just nanites that are just in us and they don't do anything. They're microscopic. They're just dormant. But if they're programmed with my DNA, I die.
Yeah.
But the problem is that if they're on you or in you and you touch someone, so let's say you and Steve didn't drink the Kool-Aid. I drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
And then I say, hey, all right, guys, that was awesome. And we high five. Now Steve has the nanites. But if they're not programmed to kill him, it doesn't matter. But if they are programmed to kill him, he's dead from me touching him.
Right, but so how is the world in danger? Do they have all the DNA of everybody?
Yes, they're getting the DNA of everybody. Like
But
anybody
how do
who's
you
ever
even get that? You can't just get it.
It's anyone who
do
is
they know
tested,
what DNA is? Like
it's anyone who's ever gotten a DNA test of anything. So
Yeah.
everybody on Maury Povich is screwed.
Yeah.
It's like everybody, right? Yeah, I'm telling
It's
you
one
what
of
it
these
is.
things. Like, do they know what they're talking about? Like, I have a vague idea of it, and I don't think you mean what you think you mean. I don't think this word means what you think it means.
Yeah, no. So that's what they have. That's what. So the stinger at the end is that Safin kept a batch of nanites that were programmed to kill Madison, Blondie. So he scratched Bond with that, so it's in him now.
Okay, so now those things that are programmed to kill the girl that he loves.
Yes.
And her daughter
are in him. That's why he was all like, "Oh, I have to die now" and shit.
Right. Or he could just live and not touch her.
Yeah. Which he did for the last 5 years.
Yeah, God, he was like angry with her for the last 5 years. And now it's like, I want to end my life. And you know what? Die. Your Bond was the worst.
Yeah.
Just fucking die. Like,
yeah. That's why him dying.
God, damn.
If you really did feel this way, then just kill the bastard.
Die.
You're like the most unreliable agent. Like, I swear, you pine away for every woman you're with. What's wrong with you? Yeah.
See?
Now we know.
Rami Malek or
Knowing
whatever
is half
his
the
name
battle.
is.
Yeah, so that's the big stinger. He can't ever touch her again, or his daughter, because she's got the DNA as well.
She starts off saying she's not yours, and then she's yours.
Okay,
yeah, that threw me off because I thought, okay, well, she's not his.
But it was so
she
obvious.
said it. There it is.
No. You guys don't watch enough Maury Povich.
They should have got Maury Povich. It's like, it's like we got Special Agent Maury Povich in, it's like, get me Maury Povich.
It's like, Felix Leiter, you are not the father.
Yeah.
It's like,
as to whether or not you're the father of blah blah, I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
It's
you
like
are not
you are not the father. And then it cuts to like reaction shots and shit.
Bond, James Bond. You
and then when
are
he's
the
told,
father. Oh,
when he's told he's not the father, he gets up out of his chair, like, yeah, and he's like, oh, like that, like the guys on that show.
James Bond, you are the father. Oh,
I'll say this and we carry on with Bond. I remember there's this one woman where it's like they did like they did 17 tests, and in the commercial breaks they did like a compilation, and it's like no.
There wasn't 17, but there must have been like 7 or 8 fellows up there, and they're like, "You're not." I'm like, "God, I think they found the father amongst them."
Yeah.
It's still a mystery.
Anyways,
God damn it!
but
Who
so
is
what
the
are they saying
father?
that Bond has unprotected sex? Is that what they're saying? It's like none of this makes sense. Because you're just
No, you can't
it's
touch
like
her at
now you're
all.
asking questions, but it's like you want me to ask them because you're making a big serious movie. So I don't understand. Like it's just you're just stacking up stupid hot takes
Right.
to make your freaking movies. Like hot take, he dies at the end. Like, hot take, like the girl is his. But so does he wear a condom? Like what's happening here? Like, what are you doing anyway?
You packing, James? Like,
Oh gosh.
Oh, you
All
know,
right.
are they married? They're married, right? No,
no,
they weren't
They're-
married.
no,
She's a bastard
okay.
child.
yeah,
All right.
and of course they had to connect her to Mr. White, who no one remembered was from Quantum of Solace.
Yeah.
I don't remember, and
He
that's
was-
apparently my
Mr. White
favorite.
is her dad, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was hoping it's Colonel Mustard, but no, it's her.
Yeah, that's right.
In a kitchen with a candlestick.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, without the condom, evidently.
Yeah, but see, but Bond just can't touch them. He could still spend time with them, and he can, and you know, I don't get it. It's not that bad. Like Rogue has lived with this her whole life, so
Yeah.
I
James
don't.
Bond,
Now you can wear a condom.
we know, is a very
No, but he
touchy.
can't even touch her.
We know he's
No,
a
no, I know.
touchy-feely man now because now he's like, I can't touch you. You just threw her on a train and said goodbye for 5 years.
Yeah.
5 years.
He's a deadbeat. So James Bond is a useless guy. He's deadbeat dad.
Oh, so Superman.
Right. It's and then he dies at the end. It's like, I mean, I don't understand. They're trying to kill off all these heroes. It's really pathetic, and playing that playing that, you know, we have all the time in the world at the end is really offensive. It's like that's hyper offensive, and it's like, no, this is awful.
I'm reading articles that they were trying to reimagine On Her Majesty's Secret Service. I'm not sure why. It's not really a proper reimagining, anyways. It's not.
It's not at all.
That's a great movie. I mean, anyone who's never seen it, you should watch it. It's pretty awesome. So
yeah, it's awesome. And James Bond does a lot of women in that movie, even though he loves Tracy. Yeah, because he get close to everybody, and it's like he goes bed to bed. He goes back to back on a few of them. Yeah, of the Angels of Death, Blofeld's Angels of Death that are in that. And you know what I liked about that movie is that, like, Blofeld's plan, again, the plans weren't always this crazy. His plan was like, I'm going to control all of the markets, right? Because it's like each girl was from a different thing, like you know, whatever. He's like the economy, like he can destroy the economy because each girl was like part of some other bigger thing. Like I don't remember exactly who's what, but you know, I'm like, that's kind of cool. He's like, I could just destroy the economy. And it's like, oh, okay. It wasn't like I'm gonna like physically destroy everybody. It's just like I'm gonna, you know, collapse things. I know. Yeah. Okay, guys. Do you want to just real quick rattle off, because we're gonna end this in a minute. I mean, for me, this is the worst Daniel Craig movie. The second worst is Spectre. The third worst is Casino Royale. The next one is Skyfall, and then the next one is Quantum. I think that's my order. What's your order, Steve?
The worst for me is probably still Quantum.
Worse than this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to watch that. I have to watch that again. Quantum is shit on shit. I don't know. I have to really watch. And we saw it in the theater, and I was like, "What in flying? Like nothing is happening on the screen."
I actually
You're saying there's
rewatched
action, but like I have to rewatch it, man. I don't know.
I rewatched it with subtitles because I was like, I can't follow this, and I rewatched it with subtitles to see if I could understand it.
Understand it, yeah.
And I still don't understand it. So
what the heck? This
I
is
don't know what that
crazy.
movie's about.
no, I have
Water.
no idea.
At the end, they're like water. It's like okay,
Yeah,
water.
water.
What's
I'm like,
happening? I don't know.
yeah,
Oh my god.
I mean, Taskmaster was bad, but this one was a close second. Like Olga Kurylenko is a beautiful woman, and like not utilizing that is almost like a criminal offense. But so Quantum was worse than this. Spectre, Skyfall, Casino Royale.
Sean,
God. Quantum. I think it's the same as Steve. Like Quantum is the worst.
you guys are insane.
Spectre,
This No Time to Die is 3 hours and he dies at the end and he's made fun of the whole movie. Even
I
if
know.
Quantum is boring, that cannot be.
Quantum of Solace is. Like
I'd have to watch. I didn't watch them leading up to this because I didn't want to. But like,
right,
you saying that Quantum is awesome intrigues me because I remember it being the the worst Bond movie. So I didn't like
it, but I watched it again and I was super excited. I was like, "This is awesome!" I don't know.
How the hell? Okay, let me watch it. We saw it in the theater. I don't know. Did I not watch a different movie or something?
I don't know. I didn't like
watch it again.
I didn't like it either. I literally said, I'm like, I haven't watched this in a long time. I'm like, let me just put it on. And I was like, this is kind of cool. It's also the shortest, and Bond isn't Look, he's not disrespected. You're disrespecting the character. If you thought it was a boring movie, you couldn't follow it, fine. But like that versus I've disrespected the character and then I killed him at the end, that's like outrageous.
Yeah.
Like No Time to Die is the worst James Bond movie ever. Easy. They disrespect the character at every half an hour. He's disrespected, and then he dies at the end. I don't like. There's no way. Even if Quantum of Solace is a crap movie, it doesn't disrespect James Bond. He wins in the end. Like he fights guys and wins, and it's the only movie where I don't think he's being all, I don't want to do this. It's like he's literally on a mission, wanting to be on the mission.
But I thought all he sees is just revenge for Vesper or whatever, right?
Only in the beginning parts.
Okay.
And then it's that convoluted mess that Steve is saying he can't.
Oh Jesus! I'll watch it.
But it's shorter too. I don't know. Like this movie disrespected James Bond pretty bad. I can't give this.
I know, but I still have the mental block, and it's not James Bond.
Yeah.
Right.
I gave up on this. I gave up on this being James Bond. Like.
It's still 2 hours and 45 minutes.
It's horrible. Like, don't get me wrong. It's bad. It's really bad.
Yeah,
I was fighting with this or Quantum being the worst because the Quantum was such. Maybe it's also the movie. Like Quantum was just such a miserable movie experience. Like it was uncomfortable for me. I'm like, I actually just want to leave. Like I'm not following this at all, and I don't really care.
Maybe I need to rewatch it a third time or something, but like
yeah, it's like unless you like you were I don't know cooking or something during it and you were in and out, like it's if you try and pay attention to it, it's impenetrable. It's like I don't understand what I literally put it on with subtitles. I'm not lying to try and follow it, and I'm still like
I'm pretty sure I don't know. I'm pretty sure I followed it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. That's true. The rip-off movies are more. Okay. Yeah. Well, I think we're gonna end it there, and then we will be back. I guess we'll do Sunday. Let's see what's going on. We'll see because I have to see What If. I'll finish Squid Game. You saw it, yeah. I'll finish Squid Game by then, and then anything else that I don't know, but we're seeing Halloween next weekend or next Thursday. So we got to figure out a day to rank the Halloweens. I got to see if I can get JoJo back on to do flicks and to do her takes and stuff. So hopefully she can come because I know we had to change. I changed the time like 100 times. I'm like, why don't we just wait till part 2 comes out and then we can watch
and do it,
do everything, and then I could revisit some of these. And I'm gonna put Resurrection a lot higher than everybody else, and it's like everyone's gonna be like, no, it shouldn't be that high. But anyways, okay, guys, thanks for watching.
Hey friends, you've just been listening to J-Man, and he is the smartest person who ever lived. So make sure you like and subscribe.